Ginyetie hana twabe tuthie kuria kaunti-ini ya Naikuru goko tukunyitanira na mwandiki witu wa mohoro Ngige wa Nyamu ari kuria mwena wa Naivasha.
Kiaria aririe urumwe wa bururi tondu haria tukinyite ni turona gutire urumwe na kwanza thaici turaigua ati kwina ng'ania mararutwo tondu wa gusupport ng'ania maundu macio ti mega atuteithie na aririe uria kunyitithania bururi wa Kenya nigetha bururi witu hote kurugama wega tutige gukorwo na mbara hana haria no ndu ucio ni gukorwo wi mwega.
Umuthi itanya ritu ta guku gwitu Naivasha ni turenda kumenya mwena wa SHA mwena wa thibitari haria ukuigirira mubango wa aikari ya Kenya.
Tukwihoka president athie bunge ni eguthie ariririo horo wa SHA tondu mitambo yo gutuikaga ni iragwa muno ndiraruta wira andu makainuka matari athondeke angi magagikuira thibitari tukihoke ni egukiuga ni kwagira mitambo iyo tucoke ni atwiriire barabara ni ekuhingura agioka akihutia mau road akihutia barabara ingi na guku Nyandarua tukwihoka barabara icio ciothe ni egutwira ni ciambiriirie na onanie haria ithiete igakinya
agatuhe dead promises ta iria koretwo agituhe na hau gabere miario ria ekwario mumbe arie kiria ena uma nakio ni gigukinyanira ni tondu twina history ya nakuu thutha maundu maingi maria aririe gutiri undu ukinyanire. Wa keri SHA ino yokire ri kweheria NHIF ri Kenya kwina technician kwina andu ogi ni mabatie gu shift ati ino irehera ino ingikaingira toria ngie yumaga na mbe mugathigiri igathithatu ndabatie ati gukorwo ati he maundu mekurugama toguo marugamite. By the way ugithi district ingi ni aria mahingiriirio ni mabiru ma thibitari kwa mena kadi ona ni marihite
maundu mangi ni ta muikarire riu tukona ta guku utire na mbeca ni taithiete riu ta kuu marahithite kuu kanitha-ini icio maragitwaraga kuu tondu ni tuhinyirikite guku biu tukaga ona mundu ndahota kunji mundu kimaisha kana ria gukiuga onoko ni kukigaira mugao ucio arakigaa wa counties akigaire counties na ri ndukinyirwo ni mbeca ici.
Acio ni aikari a kuria Naivasha aria maranirie na mwandiki witu wa mohoro Ngige wa Nyamu na tuikare o ku kaunti-ini ya Naikuru no tuthie nginyagia mwekiro uria ungi mwena wa Molo kuria nake Joel Kimani aranirie na aikari a ku.
Negatho studio uranyamukira na njira ya imwe kwa imwe kuma guku mwena wa Keep Left Moro kaunti-ini ya Naikuru tugithie na mbere na kwaraniria na aikari a gicigo bunge kia Moro uhoro-ini wigie bururi na muthenya wa umuthi President William Ruto ni atanyitwo gukorwa kiariria bunge cieri bunge ya Senate oro umwe na bunge ya gibũrũri mathaini ma miaraho ni nginya tugukiaraniria na muingi hi kuhiriria tu ukorwo gitwira maritwa maku maundu maria utanyite president akorwa kiaririria muthenya wa umuthi rugama tu.
Ni wega muno nie njitagwo Njenga Matendo na muthenya wa umuthi president ni ekwariria bururi na maundu maria nie ingenda president ariririe hihi ongoro ndari amaririria. Undu wa mbere ingenda president ariririe undu witagwo social health insurance nyamu ino mareta SHA kana shifu tondu hari nie ni njui ati mubango ucio ti mwega mubango ucio ni wekirwo na ihenya muno ona ngoro ni wari mwega wananchi ni mahithukiirwo na nikio kiratumanie tani hakwa ndecirie kana ndikuwe mubango ucio ndwari wa guteithia mwananchi. Undu ungi wa keri ni undu wigie CBC uhoro uyu wa githomo gia CBC ni wateng'eririo muno na ni uhinyiriirie wananchi tondu riu mundu uria wina mwana ni taragura kila kindu especially mafuku mwana arathie na mafuku na ifuku tamu imwe tamu wengi mwana akendwo kindu kingi mubango ucio ti mwega.
Mbere ni ndijitagwo councillor Wanyuike wa Moro guku tene na guku Moro ni kuria haha turugamite ni haria president atuheire mwihoko munene muno na thirikari iyo na nie ndari umwe uria wahenirio ni president uyu na ni ndamuheire kura na ndamuhe kura ndari na mwihoko munene muno na thirikari ino no ni hakinyite handu hagatuika ati thirikari ino mari erauga mena cama muno no mari ereka ni mari methumu muno na mwananchi wa Kenya. Riu ndenda kwira president uyu atiriri ake address maundu ma bururi uyu aririkane mwananchi toguo arauga ci kana sha ino yake kwina mwananchi urathumbuka muno kwina mirimu ta ya diabetes irathumbura andu maturaga methecaga shida no nginya nda nginya kundu miri yothe na arauga ati tugathondekwo Januari riu nie ndirenda maundu ne ndiraigua mahinyiriirie muno tondu turatinda harambe haria na haha tondu wa mbere thibitari ino county mbeca cia county ni ithukite ni tondu gutire mbeca cia county irakinya guku
hamaritwa njitagwo hospital nguru ni thengio muno ni undu wa ihinda riri na nä twetereire muno president uria kwa address bururi uyu muthenya uyu ahetwo kana muthenya uyu mundu wothe munyinyi na munene athikireirie uria president ekuga undu wa mbere ni ereire agency kana ni ereire youth uhoro wa gukorwo ni ekumaruta CRB to ni makomairwo ni maruni na nginya umuthi uyu aria augite ni ekumateithia young people all the me CRB na gutiri mundu ungihota gukua mbeca ona maruni maria meritwo ni mekwehererio matiehereirio koguo andu anyinyi mena thina muno ona wa gukomba mbeca handu hothe ona atumia aria makoragwo a thoko onao maikareirwo muno ni CRB o ati matingihota gukua mbeca na negwite thirikari ino ati ni awa maboga na yuthi kana na andu a boda boda undu ucio nduri wakinyanira ni mbu marauga umuthi mationaga toro ni kieha ona matimenyaga na kuria mekurora ni undu wa CRB
thini wa percentage ya thirikari ino kuma hari mwe nginya 10 ri ni no ndimaheire 0.5 niki tondu wa mbere ri gutiri barabara irakwo gutiri mathibitari andu marathi magateithika andu no gukua marakua ni mirimo wa keri ciana ni cirathio na mbere na ndaika-ini ino ciana ni irora na nä ingä muno nginya munini wake mundu gwitwo Kidiki tondu no uramenya o toguo acio angi maria mbere ati ciana ni cikoretwo ikiura airitu anake ona nginya athuri makora matige kuraga ciana cia andu tondu finance bill ino mamenye ni irutĩirwo igongona ria thakame na igongona rikurutwo riticokagirwo ringi ria kunina andu
ni ngatho ucio ni uge wa aikari a mwena wa Kipleft guku ni Moro county-ini ya Naikuru ni magikorwo magikiheana matanya maria merigireire thirikari ikorwo ikiaririria muthenya wa umuthi kana president akiariria bururi maundu maria mangienda akorwo akihutiriria muno ndire no ndungi nguongerera ni undu wa mathaa na mbura iria iri mwena uyu indi kure kana gukie no tuguthie na mbere na kumenyithia mwiroreri wa Inoro TV uria maundu meguthie na mbere na kwigariura kuma guku Kipleft Moro county-ini ya Naikuru ni njitagwo Joel Kimani wa Juguna.
Thengio muno Joel Kimani no na ithwe kure kana kware no nginyagia tukuhe mweke wa gukorwo ukiaraniria na ithwe kana mweke wa gukorwo ukiiturura kuga maundu maria urakorwo ukirigirira kuma kuri president na kuma kumwena wa Molo tuguthie o nginyagia kuria county-ini ya Laikipia tauni-ini ya Nyahururu kuria mwandiki witu Peter Mwangi araraniria na aikari agoku.
Thenge muno ni ndirakwamukira wega ndi guku tauni-ini ya Nyahururu na guku ni kaunti-ini ya Laikipia turi o guku tukiriunga matura tugithikiriria mawoni ma muige mahigie ndereti kana ndumiriri ya president muthenya wa muthi hwaini thiini wa cikaro cia bunge na guku tauni-ini ya Nyahururu turi na andu tucamanitie nao hihi no kuheria hao twira mawoni maku ni maundu mariko ratanya president akorwo akiariria muthenya wa muthi no ambiri na maritwa
makwa njitagwo Peter Njue uikari wa Laikipia tauni-ini ya Nyahururu thirikari ino ya mugathe Samuel Ruto ne turirire ciraniro nyingi muno ni ciraniro nyingi muno twereirwo ni tuguthondekerwo mbeu njithi ni maguthondekerwo mawira ni tuguthondekerwo barabara ni tuguthondekerwo iganda cia wira thirikari ino ya Kenya Kwanza ikiingira ni atwirire ciraniro icio na turikanite muno ni twereirwo ciraniro ta icio no gutire ona kimwe turi tuona tuhingeirio ona kimwe haya tungithie hahe ugima wa mwiri ni twari na kandi etagwo NHIF ni atuteithagia muno na njira nene muno makiria no na kandi yo ni acokire ikigarurwo na ukirehwo mutaratara ungi witagwo SHA ontiona uteithio wayo ona hanini koguo tungihoya maundu mothe twereirwo macio ni mambe mahingio tutikambe kwirirwo mangi tutonete maria twereirwo mbere thirikari ikiingira ya Kenya Kwanza
jesi anduthi ni ndore
jesi anduthi ndore ona hanini tondu guku no kuhinya kuhinyirika tungirathi mwena wa Petro tuguraga goro thirikari ya riho gabere ni aturugamagirira muno ni ndaigua marugamirira mbeca ni magaitige ciringi 20 ni ciringi tukerugamirira ino yokire akiheria mutaratara ucio riu ithuĩ nĩtwĩrĩhagĩra maguta mbeca icio ciothe na tũtiona ũteithio ona hanini na hanini.
Thengio ucio no woni wake nyitane na muthuri ungi wi haha hihi no karibu kwa Inooro TV hihi no tarĩria mawoni maku megie ndereti kana mĩario muthi thĩinĩ wa ya president thĩinĩ wa cikaro cia mbunge.
Wa mbere ndĩ mũikari wa Nyahururu gũkũ Laikipia na ithuĩ mũno Kenyans nĩ kũhinyĩrĩka tũhinyĩrĩkĩte mũno makĩria gĩtũmi nĩ twamenyeire kwĩrĩrwo ciĩranĩro itarahinga tumetenga tutatenga tumepanga rĩu ona tũtirata kũrĩ ũndũ ũngĩ egwĩka macio no tũrona tarĩ mwe gũcokera koguo tũtina mwĩrĩgĩrĩro ona ũrĩkũ tondũ ciĩranĩro twanĩrĩirwo nyingĩ mũno wakorwo nĩ thibitarĩ ukaigua rĩu gũtirĩ ndawa NHIF gũtirĩ nĩrekire ĩgeretwo agachi rĩu SHA na chi ona tũtirĩ tũramenya chi na chi nĩ ndũ koguo reke tweterere tũigue kana nĩ tũgwĩtario twĩrwo chi na SHA na chi na icio nĩ ndũ tũcoke akorwo nĩ university tũigue kana hihi university nĩmekũrũmbũiyo wakorwo nĩ education minister education gũtirĩ ũndũ arauga tũtimũiguĩte akĩaria ithuĩ tũiguaga mũthamaki akĩaria tũtiĩ kana nĩ arekereirio wĩra wothe matimũteithagia nĩ wega mateithanie nake tondũ twatĩ Gachagua ehera rĩu maũndũ nĩ megũka wega rĩu ndakĩrĩ hau reke tũkĩone nĩ twĩrĩgĩrĩire gũthikĩrĩria tũigue.
Na hihi tarĩ ũngĩheo kamweke warĩria president nĩ maũndũ marĩkũ ũngĩmwĩra wĩ ta mwananchi wa kawaida?
Niĩ ingĩheo kamweke njarĩrie president no ndĩmũthaithe mũno ndĩmwĩre atĩ twamũcagũire na ngoro ĩmwe ithuĩ kwanza central twamũcagũrire onake nĩ ũyũ ũguo atĩ tũmĩrĩte tene mũno tũmũcagũre na rĩu andũ arĩa twamũcagũrire rĩ ithuĩ tũrarĩa ruo rũrĩa rũnene tondũ ithuĩ kaĩ twekire ũru nĩ kũmũcagũra no tũmũrie kaĩ twekire ũru nĩ gũgũcagũra mũnene witũ koguo nĩ wega ũtũrũmbũiye ũtwĩcirie.
Thengiũ mũno nĩ ũndũ wa mahinda ngũhaya tũkinyie hau nĩ ndũmĩrĩri ya president nĩ ndũmĩrĩri yetereirwo mũno nĩ andũ aingĩ na matanya mao nĩ atĩ nĩ egũkorwo akĩarĩria maũndũ marĩa makoretwo makĩhinyĩria mwananchi wa kawaida kana andũ arĩa marĩ macinani na makĩria megiĩ maũndũ megiĩ ũrigiti na noigwa kwĩ na maũndũ ma SHA na SHI. Nĩ ũndũ wa mahinda ndĩkĩrie hau handũ-inĩ ha Inooro TV kuma gũkũ taũni-inĩ ya Nyahururu gũkũ nĩ kaunti-inĩ ya Laikipia njĩtagwo Peter Mwangi.
Thengio mũno Peter Mwangi kuma kũ mwena wa Nyahururu na kwa ihinda rĩrĩ tũgũcokereria gũkũ studio kũrĩa tũrathiĩ na mbere na ndereti na mũgeni witũ mũthenya wa ũmũthĩ ũrĩa nĩ mũthathaũri wa maũndũ megiĩ ũtongoria Bwana Hoswell. Bwana Hoswell harĩa tũgũtigĩrĩire ũgũtwĩrĩte president no nginyagia aheane mwĩhoko. President no nginyagia ekĩre iratũ-inĩ cia Mũkenya na kũringana na ũrĩa tũraigua Kenya makiuga marauga mwĩhoko nĩ tũhetwo mũno. Ndiũ kana nĩ ciugo agĩrĩirwo kũhũthĩra ingĩ kana ekwĩruta atĩa ũndũ-inĩ ũcio wa gũtuĩka atĩ nĩ tũhetwo mwĩhoko ihinda iraya.
Thengiũ mũno Gathoni. Ngwĩciria thĩinĩ wa mĩario ya siasa na mĩario yothe ĩrario nĩ wanasiasa nĩ harĩ kĩndũ kĩmwe gĩtagwo rhetoric kana ũndũ ũtũraga ũcokagĩrwo na rĩmwe rhetoric ĩno ĩngĩcokerwo kaingĩ mũno na andũ matirahota kuona maũndũ mangĩnyitĩra maũndũ mangĩorota maige ũũ nĩ wĩkĩkĩte rĩmwe andũ nĩ mahanaga ta manogio nĩ maũndũ macio. Koguo rĩ nĩ tũrenda president no twende president akĩarĩria a Kenya ũmũthĩ rĩ agerie gũtarĩria maũndũ marĩa maroneka maũndũ marĩa marekĩka na ningĩ thĩinĩ wa mĩario yake rĩ twĩkĩre kĩndũ gĩtagwo honesty kana ũma nĩ kũhota
na ngwendaga gũkũria Bwana Hoswell president no arũgame harĩa auge nĩ tũgeretie no nĩ ndĩretikanĩria na inyuĩ gũtirathiĩ wega kana ndarĩ angiuga ũguo rĩu ningĩ nĩ gwathũka.
Ngwĩciria he hĩndĩ ĩmwe former president Uhuru akĩruta state of the nation address rĩ erire andũ nĩ mũrona nĩ tũreka maendeleo development no mũmenye maũndũ maya nĩ tũkarĩha nĩ mathirĩ na no nginya tũgathe mĩcibi nĩgetha tũrute wĩra. Ngwĩciria a Kenya matirĩ makorwo na thĩna wa kwĩrwo magathe mĩcibi marute wĩra kĩrĩa ningĩ gĩcokaga gĩkarehe thĩna rĩ nĩ rĩrĩa niĩ nawe tuona nĩ tũgathire mĩcibi mũno nĩ wĩra tũraruta no bũrũri ndũrakũra na ũrarega gũkũra nĩ ũndũ wa kĩ karĩa nĩme. Koguo rĩ no twende president ũmũthĩ oke na nginya hinya mũingĩ mũno wa kũgeria gũtarĩria atĩrĩrĩ maundu ma bururi urarega gukura ni undu wa ki niki kiratuma bururi ukorwo utegukura angikorwo ni uhoro ucio wa andu aya tureta karia ni meri he hindi imwe tuonire thiini wa State of the Nation address tarita riri ati abunge othe na andu aria othe mari thiini wa bunge ihinda riu makiheana gitio kiria gitagwo standing ovation kuri president tondu ni aigire na ni agwetire andu aria mari thiini wa thirikari yake aria makuitwo gukorwo maiyite mbeca cia muingi na akiuga ni megukorwo makitigithio wira koguo no twende kuona president agika matua maria ni powerful decision strong decisions ciegie kurwa na ungumania ciegie kurwa na maundu macio mothe maratuika ni marahinyiriria a Kenya na ngikoguo undu ucio ni wambagia gucokia kirigiriro no wambagia gucokia mwihoko kuri andu ati thirikari irio capable ya gutwarithia bururi na mbere
na kuri na tafarira imwe taru iria cikoretwo muthingi muno thirikari-ini ya Kenya Kwanza kuri na uhoro wigie urigiti kuri na uhoro wa gwaka nyumba cia thogora wa thi kuri na uhoro wigie utambia wa mitambo ya ukinyaniria no kona Mukenya ni tatarayukia tafarira ici uria hihi thirikari ingirigirira how president kuhota kuiganania ati kuonithia Mukenya tafarira ici ndiracithondeka nigetha ciguteithie
president we mwene na kanua gake ri ni eriga ko admit kana gwitikira akiuga ati ni he maundu akoretwo namo mega muno no aria me communication team andu aria magirirwo gukinyeria muingi ndumiriri na magirirwo gutariria muingi mitaratara ya thirikari matihotete gukorwo magika uguo matihotete gukorwo magitariria muingi undu muingi ukuhota kuigua na kunyita matanya na maundu maria thirikari ireka riu umuthi akiri na mweke we mwene ataririe muingi onithie muingi agikorwo ni mibango eno yake ya SHA ataririe muingi ikuruta wira na njire hana atia aiko ni maundu maya turona magikika megie public private partnership maundu maya megie adani na maria mangi
macio no ekugweta ta muthenya o muthe ni tuona umwe wao ni aracukirwo ungumania ari na cira
riu maundu ta macio ri nimo matumaga andu mage mwihoko na thirikari koguo ri president kiria agirirwo gwika ri ni oke na uma auge atiriri nie twacemania na mundu uyu twaririe una nona na ngiona no ahote gwika na hihi ri thutha wa maundu the recent development iria ciekikite ri hihi ni tugwiciria itua riri ria gutwarana na mundu uyu kana hihi guthi na mbere ri ni makinya mariku tukuoya gutwarithia mibango eno na mbere
na president odumwe na andu ake awira ni makoretwo makiuga utonga wa bururi ni urakura tutire haria twari no wathikiriria Mukenya akauga urakura atia niki ki murahuthira guthima ati utonga ni urakura tondu okorwo ni mbeca ndikire na mbeca muhuko ndirahota kugura indo iria njagiriirwo gukorwo ngihuthira president akiaria tondu arariria nginya Mukenya uria we haria the few agirirwo kuhuthira ndari kana statistics kana agirirwo kuhuthira kindu Mukenya angehutia
toiga atiriri umuthi turenda president oke eikire iratu-ini cia Kenya amaririe kumana na iratu-ini ciao na tukiaria horo wa growth ino ni turona ni kuragituika kwina economic growth ya kindu 5-6% no ninge mwena uria ungitwarora ri tukona atiriri growth ino ndiri inclusive kana gukura guku gwa bururi ri gutirahutia andu othe in fact twarora mwena uria ungiri tukona o mathabu mangi na statistics ingi cikiuga atiriri ati andu makiria ni guthina mathinite ni gukoretwo na gicunje ta kia 5% kia andu aria marehotete magicoka mwena-ini wa gukorwo makikara below the poverty line koguo ri president ni agirirwo gutariria atiriri mitaratara iria thirikari yake ikoretwo igikira negwikira guthie na mbere nigetha ikinyanirie gukura kwa economy kuri andu othe irehe inclusive growth ati nigetha ni akoretwo nginya campaign-ini yake muno akiaria akinyitirira taratetera mundu uria withi muno na hau niho andu megutura mamucukiire tondu ayahe atariria andu ni eguhota gukinyaniria ukoro ucio kuria gukura gwa bururi kuri andu aria methi muno koguo ri ni agerie gutariria mikakati na to gutariria auge nginya maundu maria mekwambia kuhanika na mekuoneka makihanika hihi guthie na mbere ma gukinyaniria gukura kuri andu aria athi muno
na gatakati ka maundu maria president athirirwo gukorwo akihutiriria ni uhoro wigie uria bururi wa Kenya uranyitanira na mabũrũri mangĩ na muthenya wa ira nituronire ningi bururi wa Kenya ugiukirirwo thutha wa mutongoria wa uregani kuma kuria Uganda akinyitirwo guku bururi-ini na nitwiriga gukorwo na raia angi kuma bururi wa Turkey ona makinyitirwo guku bururi-ini hau naho president egukorwo agicora mbica ya wega wa bururi wa Kenya atia nja wa bururi
ngwiciria twarora kiria twitaga international policy uguo ni kuga uria Kenya iraririti na andu aria maturigiceirie ni kuri na maundu maingi muno megie balancing tondu riu riria tukuona ati andu a bururi wa Uganda ni matukireire muno ni kuonania tari ithui turendirie mutongoria wao wa mung'ethaniro ta Kenyans koguo ni kuri na maundu matathiete wega thiini wa international policy foreign policy ya bururi witu tuki-interact na our neighbors na hihi no gukorwo hihi kwina maundu mangikorwo makioneka ta mathiete wega koguo ri undu umwe ningi uria wiho ri no turirikane ati turi thiini wa campaign ya gucariria Raila Odinga akorwo agitongoria African Union koguo ri president hihi ni egukorwo agiuka kuheana scorecard yake thiini wa maundu megie foreign policy no akorwo akigweta hihi haria akinyitie campaign cia Raila Odinga guthie kuri African Union na mo maundu maya mangi maraiguika mateguthie wega ta maya ma Uganda ni wega muno oke athererie a Kenya amataririe niki kirathire na mbere na niki kirathie na mbere gatagati-ini tondu riu acio ni matukuhiriirie muno ni our neighbors and ni kwagiriire tuikare tuiguanite na njira njega nao
na nima president William Ruto ni akorwo agikinya kuria cikaro-ini cia bunge no cio turamona hau ni amukirwo ni kihiri kia atongoria hamwe nao ari munini wake Professor Kithure Kindiki na nitakuga ati kumanagia na riu ndagika citari kuraihu nitugukorwo tugithie imwe kwa imwe kuria bunge-ini ya bururi wona president akorwo akiambiriria kwariria bunge na Hoswell president agioka guku bunge na makiria bunge ya bururi ni tuonire ni agucirie andu amwe a mung'ethaniro agikorwo amwe akimahe iturwa na makihana ta magia na unyitaniri wa hakuhi muno na mutongoria wa mung'ethaniro Raila Odinga na twanona rimwe president akiaria kuria bunge-ini akiugiririo rimwe akihurirwo hi rimwe twanona atongoria mung'ethaniro makiumururuka no rita riri thutha wa president gwitacukia makinya ma muthemba ucio egukorwo akiaririria bunge ina riera rihana atia
ngwiciria kwa ihinda riri president ni egukora bunge itegukorwo very hostile kuri we ni tondu riu ni ahotete gukira akanyita andu a opposition na agakorwo riu na andu ake akiri ona farm grip kuri andu acio no nyende kuga atiriri gutiri kundu gukoragwo na vacancy koguo ri opposition ni a very important part ya democracy riria riothe turi democracy tukoragwo na mwena wa thirikari na mwena wa mung'ethaniro na riu angikorwo abunge aria magirwo gukorwo magiikara mwena wa mung'ethaniro ni macoka mwena ucio ri riu hario angi megukorwo magitetia thirikari uria kwagiriire ona okorwo matire bunge na nikio raigua riu twathie kwi muingi ni moete twathie kwi muingi twathie gwi ikundi itiganite ta riu ni turonire gikundi kia athikafu agatoreki makihana ta ihinda rĩrĩ ona mbere ya president gukorwo akiarĩria bũrũri makiruta nao mateta maria marona na maundu maria marona mategũthiĩ wega thĩinĩ wa bũrũri-inĩ. Koguo rĩ ithenya rĩu aria mũng'ethanĩro nĩ rĩoetwo nĩ andũ angĩ na ikundi ingĩ, na nĩ wega president akĩaria akorwo nginya nĩ tũraiguĩte maruta statement yao magacokerio, na andũ amwe mekũmacokeria matikũmacokeria na njĩra ya gĩtĩo, no twende president akorwo akĩmacokeria na njĩra ya gĩtĩo issue by issue ĩrĩa ĩkoretwo ĩkĩrĩizwo, tondũ andũ acio nĩ andũ marĩ na itĩo ciao, nĩ andũ matũgĩrĩtio nĩ mũingĩ wa Kenya, marĩ atongoria a maũndũ ma kĩroho. Koguo rĩ maũndũ macio nĩ wega president acokeria andũ acio na address andũ acio ona ikundi iria ingĩ irutĩte mateta mao.
Tugicokereria haha he uria president agĩrĩirwo kana tone iria agĩrĩirwo gũkorwo akĩhũthĩra akĩarĩria bũrũri, no akorwo handũ hegega tuge angĩona harĩ na ũndũ ũrarĩrĩrio mũno na nĩ ũrahũra thirikari yake mũno athure kwaga kwarĩrĩria.
Gwĩciria kũthura rĩmwe kwĩhitha mũtwe tio njĩra ĩrĩa njega mũno, tondũ ũguo nĩ kuga atĩ ndũnanina thĩna ũcio no kũigithia wa wĩigithia ningĩ rĩrĩ ũkeyumĩria hĩndĩ ĩngĩ. Koguo rĩrĩ nĩ ihinda rĩega president oke atambũrũkie maũndũ metha igũrũ. Akenya nĩ andũ very reasonable, na Akenya nĩ andũ mathikagĩrĩria, na Akenya nĩ andũ metayari kũreason na thirikari yao na president wao, na Akenya nĩo mahete president mandate. Koguo ti wega president oneke tethema maũndũ na ciũria na maũndũ marĩa Akenya makoretwo makĩmũikĩria, nĩ oke head on a confront maũndũ macio, akorwo akĩrespond no tone yake onanie a lot of empathy kũrĩ Akenya, amarĩrie na njĩra ya gĩtĩo akĩmenyaga atĩ Akenya nĩo his bosses na answerable kũrĩ Akenya. Koguo nĩ address na njĩra mekũigua.
Thengiũ mũno Bwana Hoswell. Kwa ihinda rĩrĩ reke twambe tũthikĩrĩrie marĩa marathiĩ na mbere kũrĩa nja wa cikaro cia mbunge nĩ hĩndĩ President William Ruto arathũrima barĩndi ya gĩtĩo.
tulikuwa nayo.
Murarari mbica icio urona hau ni cia imwe kwa imwe kuma kuria bunge ya bururi kuria President William Ruto akorwo akinya na ndagika nini kuma riu ni egwikorwo akikinya kuria thiini wa cikaro cia bunge ya bururi nigetha akorwo akiariria giikaro kia hamwe kia bunge cieri, bunge ya bururi na ya Senate. No guku thiini wa studio no turathie na mbere na ndereti na mugeni witu muthenya wa umuthi Hoswell Ng'ang'a uria ni muthathauri wa maundu megie utongoria wa bururi. Na bwana Hoswell, ukirora riu na maitho ma muthathauri wa maundu megie utongoria, ni maundu mariku megukorwo makihaka maroro ndumiriri ya president thutha ucio hihi maria andu aria me mung'ethaniro megukorwo makihuthira muno gukorwo makigeria kunyihia ikiro cia ndumiriri iria president ekuruta?
Ngwiciria wa mbere uria gukorwo ukident mĩario ya president muthenya wa umuthi ni uhoro uyu uhanikire wa Adani. Ni kuri riu niguo uhoro uria urariririo ng'enda-ini. Ririkana thirikari no ni koretwo defend itua riao ria gukorwo makinyitanira na makiruta wira na Adani na njira nene muno, ona thengia wa Akenya gukorwo ni makoretwo question na makiuria ciuria ciegie uria mutaratara uyu wakinyanirio na uria deal ino yatuikire ni yatuika ya gukinyanirio. Koguo aria mari mwena wa mung'ethaniro ni mego capitalize no horo ucio gukorwo makienda kuorota thirikari ni undu wa maundu macio. Undu uria ungi ni ati kuri ono horo wigie taxation gukorwo ciguru muno, na nicio icio raigua cigitetio cigie SHA na SHIF. Na thina ucio na grievance iyo ndigwiciria ati president yoka kunina umuthi grievance iyo, andu no meguthie na mbere na kurengwo magoti. Koguo aria mari mwena ucio wa ung'ethaniro no kaundu megutindika muno. Uhoro uria ungi ni uhoro uria wiriga gwikika wa kuhagurwo kwa uria urari deputy president Rigathi wa Gachagua. Koguo maundu macio a Kenya no megukorwo makima criticize muno, haswa aria mari mwena wa mureganiro. Na ngwiciria deputy president we mwene Rigathi wa Gachagua tondu no mundu ukiuwi gwibanga ki siasa. Tariu umuthi ni ekurekereirie ndumirirĩa ati uria akoretwo akinyafarwo haria hothe ari na kunyafarwo nginya ageni aria maratonya na ũndũ ũcio ũgagĩcoincide na mũthenya ũrĩa president egũkorwo akĩaria koguo maũndũ macio mothe nĩ megũkorwo makĩrũĩra limelight mũthenya wa ũmũthĩ ya ũrĩa president egũkorwo akiuga na mwena wa mũng'ethanĩro ona mĩario ya mabishofu tondũ ĩkĩrĩ oho na no kũrathiĩ na mbere gũkĩelicitaga reaction itiganĩte maũndũ macio mothe nĩ megũkorwo magĩtwarana guoko kwa guoko na mĩario ya president.
Ndũmĩrĩri ya president nĩ agĩrĩirwo gũkorwo ĩkĩhana tarĩ macokio makĩria ti kũrĩ a Kenya marĩ othe makĩria kũrĩ ikundi iria cikoretwo cikĩruta ũtongoria wake mahĩtia.
Ngwĩciria nĩ kũrĩ maũndũ mamwe very serious ta maũndũ marĩa marahutia ihoto cia mũingĩ na nĩ makoretwo makĩũrio na maũndũ marĩa marahutia ũhoro wĩgiĩ public finance kana ũhũthĩri wa kĩgĩna gĩa thirikari maũndũ macio mena agency president akorwo akĩmarĩrĩria maũndũ marĩa marahutia mũkenya wothe handũ arĩ mũkenya wothe handũ arĩ nĩ ahutĩtio nĩ ũhoro wĩgiĩ igoti mũkenya wothe handũ arĩ na wasiwasi nĩ ũndũ wa ũhoro wĩgiĩ ũgima wa mwĩrĩ akeyũria kana ihinda rĩrĩa angĩbatara kũrigitwo rĩ kana no ahote gũkorwo akĩamũkĩra ũtungata ũcio kũhĩtũkĩra SHA na SHIF. Koguo nĩ kũrĩ na maũndũ marĩ na ũritũ mũno makĩria marĩa president atagĩrĩirwo kwepuka na nĩ akenya makoretwo makĩũria ciũria icio.
No akorwo agĩtarĩria ũhoro wĩgiĩ mbunge ĩrĩa gũkorwo akĩarĩria mũthenya wa ũmũthĩ yahota gũkorwo ĩtarĩ na ũregani mũno no kuma kiumia gĩkĩ nĩ tũkoretwo tũkĩona andũ arĩa matanyitire mbaru kũhagũrwo kwa ũrĩa ũrarĩ mũnini wa president Rigathĩ Gachagua makiuga nĩ kũrĩ na mũbango wa kũmeheria iturwa-inĩ iria marũgamĩrĩire kũrĩa mbunge na ona amwe magatiga wĩra mbere ya ihinda rĩu rĩgĩkinyĩte. Ũcio nĩ ũndũ ũgũkorwo ũgĩcangĩra na njĩra o yothe kũrĩa mbunge ũrĩa president agũkorwo akiuga.
Ngwĩciria president ũyũ nĩ oĩkaine gũkorwo na mĩrũgamo na act instantly no ngwĩciria njĩra ĩrĩa na approach ĩrĩa agĩrĩirwo kuoya nĩ ya kũgeria tondũ rĩera rĩa kĩũteti rĩrĩ igũrũ mũno rĩ nĩ agĩrĩirwo gũkorwo na de-escalation onokorwo nĩ arĩka ũguo aratanya gwĩka na kweheria andũ acio eventually rĩ no ihinda rĩrĩ tondũ kũrĩ na maũndũ maingĩ nĩ kũhiũ mũno rĩ nĩ agĩrĩirwo gũkorwo akĩgeria kũhoreria na nĩkĩo ndaiga ũmũthĩ oe tone ya kuonania atĩ we nĩwe baba wa bũrũri nĩ baba wa taifa koguo arehe tone ya kũhana ta aracokanĩrĩria mũno handũ ha kũhurunja arehe tone ya kuga atĩrĩrĩ nĩma nĩ arehire broad based government akĩhana ta arehe andũ icigo imwe na he icigo ingĩ mataiganĩrire na matakenire nĩ matua mau ahane ta arageria kũmahe guoko gwa kũmera ũkai tũnyitane hamwe tũngane hamwe tũtware thirikari na mbere.
Na maũndũ marĩa marĩrĩirio nĩ katiba gĩcunjĩ gĩa 10 ũmwe wamo nĩ ũhoro wa kũnina mũthutũkanio ũndũ ũmwe na gũkorwo ũgĩtetera ihoto cia andũ arĩa mahinyĩrĩrĩkĩte. President nĩ akoretwo akiuga arenda thirikari ya ũrũmwe. Ũyũ nĩ ũndũ wa kũmũhe marks ona gũtuĩka agĩka ũguo kũrĩ o arĩa matanaiganĩra.
Ngwĩciria kuma hĩndĩ ĩrĩa arehire andũ acio rĩ tondũ kaingĩ na kaingĩ nĩ twĩroraga kũringana na tũkerora kũringana na matũra marĩa tumĩte ta Kenya no ngwĩciria kuma rĩrĩa arehire andũ acio rĩ ona ũhoro ũrĩa warĩ kuo mũno wa mĩrũrũngano na maũndũ macio mangĩ nĩ ciambire kũhorera na ona wathikĩrĩria andũ acio no korwo matikĩiganĩire nĩ maũndũ marĩa mangĩ marora ũhoro wĩgiĩ inclusivity andũ a kuma na gũkũ mĩena ya western na coast na kũrĩa kũngĩ ũkaigua rĩu nĩ marambia kũhorera na makambia gũkiuga rĩu makĩone ũrĩa maũndũ megũthiĩ. Ngwĩciria hau hegiĩ kũrehe inclusion nĩ ahotete kuonania ta arĩ na goodwill ya gũkinyĩra andũ arĩa othe. Hihi kĩũria nĩ kũria kana ũndũ ũyũ nĩ sustainable after mĩeri ĩigana ũna kana nĩ mekũhota gũikara manyitanĩte hamwe. Bũrũri ũyũ wĩna history ya andũ kũgeria kũnyitana no thĩinĩ wa mũrutithanĩrie wa wĩra gwakorwo aya mena interest ciao mwanya na aya mena interest na magacoka kwao kana koguo agĩkorwo no ahote gũsustain hihi ũndũ ũyũ wa kũhana ta arakinyĩra icigo ciothe na kũirehe hamwe no gũkorwo gwĩ kwega mũno makĩria mwena wake.
No akorwo ũkĩgweta ũhoro wa kuma hĩndĩ ĩrĩa manyitanire ũhoro wa mĩrũrũngano nĩ wathirire tuge tariu mutongoria wa kana uria urari wa mung'ethaniro Raila Odinga akoragwo muhari wa mbere muno kuruta thirikari mahitia na tukona mamwe ma maundu maria anirira magicenjia hindi iria thirikari itari na mundu wa kumiruta mahitia mundu wina ucamba toria ukoragwo na Raila ni guthie koragwo githie wega kuri mutongoria uria uratongoria bururi hindi yo kana thutha-ini no guthie wega hindi yo maranyitanira no thutha-ini igakorwo ni undu ugoka kumuria
Gathoni ngwirire thiini wa mwathanire gutire vacancy na nikio rona riria Raila Odinga areheririe gukosoa thirikari ni kumirite andu ingi muno makiria aria marakosoa thirikari gukaimira ikundi tiganite gukaimira Gen Z the younger people gukaimira mabishofu na andu aria angi othe gutire gwakorwo na kiria kingituma mutongoria wa bururi aigue aiganire na bururi ni urathie wega atari na pressure nyingi ni riria bururi ungikorwo githie wega no riria riothe hae maundu matarathie wega gutikaga o mugambo ke yumiria o haria waumira kuorota na gukorwo
urito wa mugambo ucio tariu tungiona gikundi kia andu ethe kia rugama kiauga maundu matirathie wega uringithanie na ta hindi ria Raila Odinga angiarugamire arute ndumiriri
ona kaba hindi ria Raila Odinga arakirutaga ndumiriri tondu riu Raila Odinga ni agitagwo na makaria na hihi agagikorwo na demands igiri ithatu egwikira na agagicoka akahorera riu riria migambo iraima kona kundu guothe ri ona ndui no ungita koguo kiri ungika no guthondeka maundu maria kuratuika matirathie wega yes
na muthenya wa muthi ni ugututariirie ni ta president uroka ni ta kwihe marks tondu ni ugire nginyagia kuria andu amwe a thirikari yake maremetwo ni kuga kiria thirikari ireka makorwo akihuthira mweke ucio gukorwo akiheana akitariria tariu wiki no ni turonire ma minister magikira thaini kandarathi cia uruti wa wira no na icio araugire cikahuthika kuheana marks cia mundu uria araruta wira ngai tukoragwo ati no turaroro haria hakuheana marks no tutirona kiria mareka nigetha maheo marks
gwiciria umuthi president aroka gucemania na andu ciake aria mamwandikite na andu aya ni makoretwo makimuhe mateta mao na maundu maria makoretwo makimagia na ni wega oke agitariria tukiaria uhoro ucio wa performance contracting kana kuga ati riu ni twekirira kigeri kiria tukagererwo nakio hindi o yakinya akenya matirabatara gugakugerera hindi goka akenya marabatara o hindi makona kuri na maundu marathie na mbere na akenya marabatara o toria wiriga kuona ihinda rirariho akenya makira president riu ginya andu aya winao mararuta wira ni ukumeheria koguo ri turenda president atutariria ati he mawira marathie na mbere ni kuri na maundu mareka na ni kuri maundu marathie na mbere na gwikwo maundu turona na maundu tukuigua na maundu maria tuguthie na mbere turorete angikorwo ni aguka gututariria ati thirikari yake ni ikite ni atutaririe maundu maria ikite na no tumone no tuthie ni ukuririkana kwina ndaigua eroreria itu makiaria uhoro wa stalled project istathiaga na mbere maundu mathiete uguo makarugama ni turenda president atutaririe mubango wake na mitaratara yake ya gucokerera project icio agwete project na project aige muthenya muna ni gugakorwo wira ucio gicokerera kana ni mubango uriku wiho wa gutwarithia maundu na kwarahura mitaratara iyo yothe ithiete uguo igakoma
na bunge ino president aroka kwariria na ni cieri a Kenya makoretwo makiona ta citehandite ta ciregirirwo muno ni ruhonge rwa wathani rungu rwa president William Ruto hindi ria mu Kenya ari na mwiciririe tocio ni rahutia na njira o yothe uhoro wigie wa gukinyaniria motungata either kugerera mawatho maria bunge yagirirwo kuhitukia na witikiriku wa mawatho macio kuri muingi
to bunge ikagathoni ni kindu giothe twitaga independent institution kana independent offices iria gukoretwo na feeling ati ni cikoretwo cikiingirirwo ukaigua judiciary ni ragucania na executive ukaigua parliament na executive ni irathi uguo okone office ici independent ukaigua kuri ona ngucanio gatagati-ini ga controller of budget kana auditor general na executive ni turenda president athie na mbere na kuruta commitment yake ati ni ekureka ikundi ici ciathondekirwo ni katiba ci independent institution cirute mawira mao uria kwagiriire na one of the ways na he hindi imwe president atuikire very popular ni undu wa kuga ati ni akurekereria riu inspector general wa borithi akorwo na budget yake akiuga ni akurekereria judiciary fund ni turenda kuona commitment yo gwi president ati ikundi ici riu ni turaiguite judiciary makirira tondu budget yao ni tinitio na gicunji kinene muno ici no njira cia executive cia go control ikundi ici independent koguo no twende commitment ya president auge ni akurekerera independent institutions irute wira wacio bunge rute wira wayo na muno ona civil society angikorwo ni media ni tuonete harassment ya ndikia mohoro angikorwo ni ikundi cia civil society ni tuonete andu makinya mario andu makinyitwo migwete koguo ni turenda commitment a very strong commitment from the president na one of the ways of ensuring commitment ni andu aria mekite maundu mugaro no ria kwagirire gukorwo tuigue president akimoera makinya make watho
na kwa ihinda riri ni hindi riu President William Ruto atongoretio ni Speaker wa bunge ya bururi Moses Wetangula udumwe na Speaker wa bunge ya Senate Amason Kingi maraingira thiini wa cikaro cia bunge na nitakuga riu ni hindi mutaratara uyu wa president gukorwo akiheana uhoro wigie haria thirikari yake ikinyitie maundu kuringana na uria athirirwo ni katiba na kuringana na uria erire a Kenya gukorwo agikiheana ndumiriri iyo tuma na Hoswell Ng'ang'a uria ni muthathauri wa maundu megie utongoria na kwa ihinda riri tuthie imwe kwa imwe o nginyagia bunge tuthikiririe maria marathi na mbere.
Na tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, twakusihi ututazame kwa neema nyingi na baraka sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita kwa nyadhifa za uongozi katika jamhuri hii yetu. Twakuomba utuajalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote yatakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Tuketi. Order, honorable members. Let us all be seated. Thank you. Your Excellency, Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, CGH, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, the Right Honorable Dr. Moses Wetangula, EGH, MP, Speaker of the National Assembly, honorable members of Parliament, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Article 132, Subarticle 1B of our Constitution provides that the President shall address a special sitting of Parliament once every year and may address Parliament at any other time. Article 132, Subarticle 1C of our Constitution further provides that the President shall, among others, once every year, report in an address to the nation all the measures taken and the progress made or achieved in the realization of the national values referred to in Article 10 of the Constitution. In addition, Article 240, Subarticle 7 of the Constitution requires the President in his capacity as the chairperson of the National Security Council to report to Parliament annually on the state of security in Kenya. In this regard, the Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service, via the letter dated reference EOP/CAB.26/4A, Volume 4, into brackets 178, and dated the 9th of September 2024, informed the Speakers of the Houses of Parliament of the intention of His Excellency, the President, to address Parliament. Consequently, and upon consultation, the address to Parliament by His Excellency the President was scheduled for today, Thursday, the 21st of November, 2024. Pursuant to Standing Order 25-2 of the Senate Standing Orders, I notified honorable senators of the place, date, and time of today's special sitting via Gazette Notice number 148/29, which was published in the Kenya Gazette on Friday, the 15th of November, 2024. Further, together with the Right Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, I notified all members of Parliament and the general public of today's special sitting via notices placed in 3 local newspapers yesterday, Wednesday, the 20th of November, 2024. Accordingly, honorable members, this special sitting is properly convened. I thank you.
Your Excellency, Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, CGH, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, the Right Honorable Amason King, EGH MP, Honorable Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Members of Parliament, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Article 132(1)(b) of the Constitution requires the President to address the nation once every year and at any other time. Further, Article 132(1)(c) of the Constitution requires the President to once every year report in an address to the nation on measures taken and progress achieved in the realization of our national values. Additionally, Article 132(1)(c)(3) of the Constitution provides that the President shall submit a report for debate to the National Assembly on the progress made in fulfilling the international obligations of the Republic. In this regard, honorable members, by way of a message to the House, His Excellency the President conveyed his desire to address a joint sitting of the Houses of Parliament today, 21st November 2024. Therefore, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 22 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, and by Gazette Notice number 15327, which was published in the Kenya Gazette on 18th November 2024, and indeed as also notified to all members and the general public by way of newspaper notification published on 20th November 2024, I gave a notice of this special sitting of Parliament to the members of the National Assembly. Accordingly, honorable members, this special sitting is properly convened. Your Excellency, honorable members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, This year's President's address comes at a time when the country is set to host the 14th edition of the East African Community Interparliamentary Games. The Interparliamentary Games shall bring together participants from the member states of the East African Community and the East African Legislative Assembly, and are part of the deepening, widening, and tightening of the integration process. The Games are scheduled to commence next month on 7th December 2024 in Mombasa County, and all is set in readiness for these Games. Moving on, Your Excellency, it's in the custom of Parliament to recognize invited guests seated in our galleries. I therefore wish to recognize the following guests who are seated in the Speaker's row. Her Excellency Mama Rachel Ruto, First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, and other members of the First Family. His Excellency Honorable Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya and the spouse of the Deputy President, Her Excellency Dr. Joyce Kithure. Honorable Musalia Mudavadi EGH, the Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Diaspora Affairs. Your Excellency, honorable members, also present in the Speaker's row this afternoon are the Honorable Lady Justice Philomena Mbete Mwilu, MGH, Deputy Chief Justice and Vice President of the Supreme Court. She's accompanied by Honorable Justice Mohammed K. Ibrahim and Justice William Ouko. Justice William Ouko, judges of the Supreme Court of Kenya. Also accompanying the Deputy Chief Justice are Honorable Justice Oscar Angote, presiding judge of the Environment and Land Court. Honorable Justice Lady Justice Jemima Wanza Kelly, judge of the Employment and Labor Relations Court. We are also honored to have in our midst the immediate former speakers of the Houses of Parliament, the Honorable Justin Bedan Njoka Muturi, EGH, the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service and Human Capital Development, the Honorable Kenneth Marende, EGH, the Honorable Kenneth Makelo Lusaka, EGH, the current Governor of Bungoma County, Honorable Ekwe Ethro, and additionally, we also are pleased to be hosting a delegation visiting our Parliament from the Republic of the Gambia. Your Excellency, allow me to also recognize the chairperson of the Council of Governors, who is also the Governor of Wajir County, the Honorable Ahmed Abdullahi, and the Honorable Johnson Sakaja, Governor of the City of Nairobi County. May I also accord special recognition to all Cabinet Secretaries present and particularly acknowledge 4 of them who are former ranking members of the Houses of Parliament, namely Aden Duale, EGH, former leader of the majority party in the National Assembly, Honorable Onesimus Murkomen, EGH, former Senate Majority Leader, Honorable John Badi, EGH, Honorable Opio Wandai, EGH, both former leaders of the minority in the National Assembly. I need not mention that His Excellency the Deputy President is a former leader of majority in the Senate. I also acknowledge the presence of Mr. Felix Kosgei, Chief of Staff and Head of the Public Service, Principal Secretaries, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and heads of constitutional commissions and independent offices and state corporations present. They are all welcome to the House of Parliament. Your Excellency, I wish to make a special welcome to Parliament and mention the Chief of the Kenya Defence Forces, General Daniel Kahariri, who is present, and the respective service commanders, the Inspector General of Police, and other leaders of our disciplined forces, who are seated at the Speaker's row. Parliament is grateful for your distinguished service to our great nation. To all invited guests, we say karibuni sana kwa bunge letu. Your Excellency, honorable members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my singular honor and privilege to invite His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces to address this special sitting of Parliament. Welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Speakers of Parliament, the Honourable Members, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm honoured to address you today in the fulfilment of the mandate vested in me under Article 1321C of the Constitution to report to you and to the people of Kenya on the measures we have taken and the progress we have made in realizing our national values and principles of governance, and to submit to you, honourable members, the progress made in fulfilling our international obligations. Since my last address, Kenya has undergone rapid change, occasioned by the collective awakening of the people in the understanding that the state of nation depends on the work we do individually and collectively. This realization extends not only to what we choose to undertake, but also to how we go about securing careers, livelihoods, and contributing to the grand enterprise of nation building. There has never been doubt, and now there is none whatsoever, that Kenya is a land of bold ambition, with our citizens always desiring and insisting on the best possible standards, not only for themselves, but also for their families and for our nation. Consequently, our democracy has empowered citizens to ask questions and demand changes in the way their affairs are managed, driving the wheels of our nation's social, political, and economic transformation faster in the direction of excellence and prosperity. Rare are the times when leadership is ahead of the people. We are always striving to steer the machinery of state and government to keep pace with the aspirations of our citizens. We have learned through the hard as well as the more customary ways that listening is a full-time occupation of leadership, and that all questions asked by the people must be answered thoroughly and in full. We have learned never to take anything for granted and make every effort to call all our people, to carry all our people along with us in the pursuit of our transformation. The context in which I make this national address is not only significantly different from previous occasions, but it is also a singular moment with unique historical implications for us all. It is an opportunity to affirm the principles and values of which our nation stands, review the steps we have taken, the path we have chosen in our journey of national development, and reinforce the commitments we have made to one another and to our beloved nation for the sake of the present and future generations. I do not take this for granted, and with utmost respect and humility before this august assembly of the people's elected representatives, I desire to respond to the most pressing concerns that have been raised by Kenyans of all walks of life in recent months. To my understanding, the concerns and issues voiced by millions of Kenyans about the state of our nation deserve meaningful engagement, thorough understanding, and thoughtful response. There are discussions about whether leaders understand the pain, hardship, and struggles endured by countless citizens every day as they strive to make ends meet, and whether the government is doing anything about it. Similarly, many struggling Kenyans impatiently wonder when will real money get to their pockets, and when will the jobs promised, which they deserve, become a reality. Additionally, there has been conversations about our education system, particularly the transition to the competence-based curriculum, and whether policies in this sector are working for or against Kenyans. Important questions have also been raised concerning the direction of development in relation to democracy, human rights, and fundamental freedoms, as well as the rule of law, transparency, and accountability. Another more direct question that emerges every now and then is whether public policy in this administration is in furtherance of service delivery to citizens or just in aid of political strategy. It is undeniable that for many Kenyans, times are hard and the struggle to meet their daily basic needs remains daunting. It is also true that these conditions have persisted for a number of years now, leading to much frustration and anxiety. Although we have gone a long way to mitigate some of these difficulties, much remains to be done, though we have laid a firm foundation for decisive intervention. I believe that it is critical for us to bear in mind that this administration was inaugurated at an extremely difficult time, characterized by domestic challenges, compounded by regional and global security, geopolitical, financial, as well as climate dynamics. As a result, in 2022, the country's total debt burden was not only immense, but it was also stacked up in the most burdensome manner, leaving very little room for investments in public service or development of critical infrastructure. The prices of basic food commodities soared as a result of a combination of prolonged drought, declining local productivity due to inadequate support, and disruptions in the global supply chain caused by the war in Europe. Kenya faced a crossroads of extremely difficult choices, where defaulting on our obligations would have significantly worsened an already perilous situation, and more borrowing was not an option. It was therefore essential for us to drastically reduce expenditure, mobilize as much as possible resources domestically, and curtail waste. As I informed the nation then, matters were going to get more difficult before they could get better. And we all had to tighten our belts and work hard under very unforgiving conditions. We had staked the fate of our ambitious bottom-up economic transformation agenda on easing the stress that the economy was in and the strain citizens underwent, while creating room for the implementation of our transformative interventions. Members, I give this background to underscore two very important facts. First, we haven't been watching helplessly and doing nothing as adversity took a toll on the economy and undermined the livelihoods and well-being of the people. On the contrary, we have been working tirelessly to steer the country away from the brink of unprecedented economic collapse and onto a more promising trajectory. The second point is that while we may not be where we would like to be, we are certainly not where we were 2.25 years ago. At the same time, the cost of living was substantially high, with prices of basic commodities beyond the reach of many households. Today, I'm proud to report that the macroeconomic indicators point to a positive turnaround and an upward trajectory. Allow me to highlight a few milestones that underscore this progress. The shilling has stabilized significantly, appreciating from Kenya shillings 162 to the dollar in February 2024 to Kenya shillings 129 today, a remarkable gain of 20%. This recovery has restored confidence in our financial markets and significantly reduced the cost of servicing external debt, creating fiscal space for our development imperatives. Inflation has declined dramatically from 9.6% in September 2022 to 2.7% in October this year, the lowest rate in 17 years. This achievement has been the consequence of favorable weather and our deliberate efforts to support farmers with affordable inputs, including subsidized fertilizer, leading not only to increased production but also productivity and lowering the prices of many cereals, including maize, pulses such as beans and peas. Our foreign exchange reserves have surged by US dollars 2.4 billion to hit a new record of US dollars 9.5 billion, providing a 4.8 month of import cover, the highest in 10 years. This resilience yields us or shields us from external shocks in the global economy and restores investor confidence. Ladies and gentlemen, interest rates are also trending downwards, reducing borrowing costs and freeing up fiscal space for growth-enhancing initiatives by business. Tax revenues have grown by 11.5% in the year to June 2024, reflecting the success of our tax-based expansion measures. The economy continues to grow steadily, recording a 5.6% growth rate in 2023, among the highest globally. We project 5% growth this year and 5.6% growth next year. Honorable members, our efforts to secure food security and stability are already bearing fruit. Since February, we have distributed subsidized fertilizer to 6.45 million registered farmers in 45 counties, enabling them to increase their yields. And this year, we have procured and through e-vouchers distributed 7 million bags of both planting and top dressing fertilizer to boost food production across the country. This intervention will see a projected increase in maize production, for example, to a record 74 million 90 kilogram bags. We have also concluded long-term agreements with 11 suppliers of assorted fertilizers so as to make this commodity available all year round. Fertilizer for the long rains season will be stocked in outlets nationwide, ensuring our farmers are ready to plant, grow, and produce. This forward momentum will not only increase our agricultural output, but also reduce our reliance on costly food imports, securing a more self-reliant and a more prosperous Kenya. This approach, rooted in my administration's policy to support production rather than subsidize consumption, has already made food more accessible, more affordable to many households. Today, Kenya boasts substantial national stocks. 47 million bags of 90 kilogram bags of maize are in our stores. 8.8 million bags of beans, 10.4 million bags of wheat, and 2.1 million bags of rice. Slowly but surely, we are building a food-secure Kenya, where families need not to worry or worry less about their next meal. In the sugar sector, we have achieved a historic milestone. All 17 sugar factories across Kenya are now operational, producing at impressive levels, while 4 new sugar factories are under construction. In July alone, domestic sugar production reached 84,000 metric tons, surpassing the national monthly consumption average of 40,000 metric tons. For the first time in recent history, Kenya is producing enough sugar to meet our local demand. This success is attributed to many factors: subsidized fertilizer for sugarcane farmers, an additional 500,000 acres that has been brought under production, and improved management of the sugar sector, which have revitalized production and brought the industry back to life. I just signed, as you know, the new sugar laws to provide further policy guidance as we seek to be a sugar exporting country shortly. In the coffee sector, we are on track to increase exports from 51,000 metric tons this year to 150,000 metric tons by 2027. The government has also raised disbursements from the Cherry Advance Fund from 2.7 billion to 6 billion Kenya shillings, complemented by an additional disbursement of 1.5 billion by the Commodities Fund. Average prices at the Nairobi Coffee Exchange have risen by 25%. And in the last financial year, the country produced and exported 48,000 metric tons, earning farmers Kenya shillings 25 billion. Additionally, 320,000 bags of fertilizer have been allocated specifically for the coffee sector, and we will be working with cooperatives to make sure this fertilizer is distributed at the nearest possible destination to the farmers. These interventions are expected to boost smallholder farmer earnings from Kenya shillings 300,000 to 500,000 per acre annually by the year 2027. The dairy sector remains a vital value chain with a quick turnaround impact on households in the economy. The government of Kenya has released and you members approved 3 billion shillings to modernize the new KCC, ensure farmers are paid on time, and maintain a high price of Kenya shillings 50 per litre. As a result, intake to KCC has increased from 100,000 litres a day to 220,000 litres a day by last month. Other strategic interventions include the extension of duty-free imports for feed manufacturing raw materials, subsidized artificial insemination services, and the reduction of sexed semen costs from 7,000 to 2,900 through the Kenya Animal Genetic Resource Center. These measures have led to a 14% increase in milk production from 4.6 billion litres in 2022 to 5.2 billion litres in 2023, with projections exceeding 6 billion litres this year. The value of exported dairy products has nearly doubled, rising from Kenya shillings 4.8 billion in 2022 to Kenya shillings 7.2 billion in 2023. These gains demonstrate how targeted policies can deliver tangible benefits to dairy farmers and drive growth in our economy. Honorable members, by 2022, the education sector was in a crisis with a lack of clarity in transition to the competence-based curriculum, a shortage of 110,000 teachers, and 23 out of 40 public universities were technically bankrupt and at risk of closure. Among those facing severe challenges were huge institutions such as my own alma mater, University of Nairobi, Kenyatta University, Moi University, Egerton University, Maseno University, Masinde Muliro University. To address this issue in our education sector, we have already hired, as you know, members, 56,000 teachers and are in the process of recruiting another 20,000 by January next year. We have also ensured the seamless transition of learners from primary to junior secondary and domiciled grade 7, 8, and 9 in primary school optimizing the use of existing infrastructure, ensuring the safety of young learners, and protecting parents from the high costs associated with boarding schools far away. Recognizing the financial challenges faced by our universities and TVETs, we introduced a new student-centered higher education funding model. This model gives priority to the most vulnerable students, offering them up to 95% government support, while also pulling our universities back from the brink of collapse. The remaining challenges for a few universities, like Moi University, are related to internal administrative and governance issues, which I have given firm instructions that they should be addressed. To further enhance access to higher education, we launched the Open University of Kenya, and this House approved that exercise, paving the way for more students to achieve their academic goals. The institution's first cohort of students is scheduled to graduate next week on the 29th of November 2024. Honorable members, universal health coverage is a cornerstone of our transformation agenda and a matter that touches every Kenyan family. Despite health being a devolved function, we acknowledge the immense financial burden that comes with health. Counties have struggled with shortages of medicine, equipment, sometimes staff, hindering service delivery and leaving countless Kenyans with suboptimal access to health care. It would have been easy for me to step back and leave this responsibility to counties alone. But that would have been a disservice to Kenyans and a betrayal to our Constitution. Instead of engaging in debates about healthcare being devolved, I have chosen the hardest but necessary path of addressing this challenge head on. Health delivery is not just about fulfilling a constitutional mandate by whatever level of government. It is about ensuring that healthcare is not a privilege for the few who can afford and a pipe dream for the many who cannot. For years, NHIF was saddled with debts and inefficiencies, and healthcare was being severely and negatively impacted. For far too long, too many households have lived on the edge, just one illness away from financial catastrophe. Our healthcare system has historically neglected the poor and vulnerable, leaving them without any option, while private sector medical covers remained out of reach for the majority. This is precisely what we will correct through the provision of universal health coverage. This agenda is not just about a promise. It is about a bold commitment to deliver health through transformative financing reforms, making healthcare accessible and affordable, digitizing our healthcare services to enhance efficiency, eliminate fraud, and stop corruption, and to empower a skilled and motivated health workforce. To honor our commitment on the universal health coverage, I signed into law 4 groundbreaking legislation on the 19th of October, passed by this August House. The Social Health Insurance Act replaced the outdated National Hospital Insurance Fund and established the Social Health Authority, which oversees 3 essential funds. This modern framework ensures that every Kenyan, especially the most vulnerable, can access quality healthcare services when they need it most. The shift from the National Health Insurance Fund model to Taifa Care is fundamental and radical in both scale and character. NHIF, if I give you a bit of example, NHIF served a few salaried Kenyans and those who could afford to pay. But Taifa Care covers every Kenyan, regardless of employment or financial status. Secondly, Despite serving a limited class of citizens, NHIF nevertheless accumulated billions of shillings of debt because of misalignment between contributions and the actual cost of healthcare. Taifa Care has undertaken an accurate costing of all healthcare-related goods and services in order to provide timely, effective, and efficient service to every Kenyan that is affordable. Additionally, the NHIF had a waiting period lasting between registration and eligibility for service. I think it was like about 3 months. Under Taifa Care, citizens are eligible for all services upon registration. I therefore urge every Kenyan to take the most important step in securing dependable health care for themselves and their families. Register. Register now or at the earliest possible opportunity. Honorable members, for the first time in our nation's history, free primary health care is increasingly becoming available at dispensaries, health centers, and hospitals. Ambulance and emergency services are also slowly but surely being made available at no fee. Under Taifa Care, we have introduced a comprehensive benefits package that brings specialized care, such as cardiothoracic surgery, within reach for many Kenyans without the burden of financial strain. Through the Digital Health Act, we are revolutionizing healthcare delivery. Every step of the process, from registration, eligibility checks, to claims, is now digitized. By eliminating unnecessary human interaction, we are tackling corruption, reducing inefficiencies, and ensuring that resources are used where they are needed most. As a result, the good news, SHA will pay all October claims in full by next week. And it will continue like that going into the future. To date, over 15 million Kenyans have enrolled in Taifa Care, and more than 60% of employers have successfully transitioned into its framework. The newly established Social Health Insurance Fund empowers citizens to contribute towards accessing a broad range of healthcare benefits. This represents a seismic change from the old reactive healthcare model to a forward-looking system that prioritizes prevention and preparedness. Once the transition from NHIF is complete and SHIP becomes fully operational, Kenya will have a healthcare system that guarantees dignity, peace of mind, and equitable access for every citizen for the very first time in our 60 years of independence. Honorable members, we have launched an ambitious healthcare program, one that Kenya has always needed and deserved. Like any major transition, there are challenges, but I promise you, we are fully committed to making the system work. As we roll out this program, we are listening to citizen voices and collaborating with counties to deliver better healthcare services. Through the Facility Improvement Fund, which you in this House passed, we will ensure that hospitals are equipped with the tools they need, medicine, equipment, and other resources necessary to provide quality care, while involving citizens in decision-making at every facility. We are now doing the heavy lifting, clearing decade-old debts, ensuring access to medicine and equipment, and stabilizing a system that had failed too many for too long. Over the past month, we have disbursed Kenya shillings 5 billion to settle historical debts owed to the public, private, and faith-based medical facilities, some of which have been pending for over a decade. Another 3.7 billion will be disbursed tomorrow. This underscores our commitment to ensuring uninterrupted delivery of healthcare services, and we will continue to clear the remaining balances in a phased-out approach over the coming months. This sustained effort aims to restore confidence in the healthcare system and ensure seamless access of quality services. Honourable members, there is a compelling body of data projecting that not only is the future of humanity urban, but also that Africa has the fastest rate of urbanization. Kenya is no exception, and in fact, many of our counties are urbanizing rapidly. Dear Kenyans, we have a date with an urban future, and the only choice we have is what this urban future will look like. Will it be characterized by decent, dignified, safe, and livable neighborhoods and communities? Or will it be haphazard, unsanitary, unsafe slum dwellings? This is the fundamental question that our affordable housing plan seeks to answer. Kenya has a serious housing deficit, and the cost of housing is beyond the reach of the majority. While the social and economic efforts of this shortage are far-reaching, rent as a component of the cost of living is unsustainable. People are forced to choose between enduring long, punishing commutes to faraway homes or taking up less desirable spaces within reach. Supplying the number of units required to fill the affordable housing gap requires us to undertake construction throughout the country at the rate of 200,000 new housing units every year for 10 years. Many people have asked why they should be interested in affordable housing project in rural areas. If you look around, you will witness the signs of our urban future. Land sizes are becoming smaller as the population grows in rural agricultural areas. To protect agriculture and food security from the effects of uncontrolled land fragmentation, urbanization must be planned and must be controlled. And the affordable housing program is therefore a vital component of integrated land use planning and development program that we are implementing throughout the country and in every county. Each unit of housing drives demand for different types of labor, professional services, and materials, bringing laborers, masons, bricklayers, artisans, electricians, and carpenters, as well as architects, engineers, and quantity surveyors, lawyers, real estate economists into the equation. Affordable housing is also a major opportunity for manufacturers, developers, and other industries. In other words, the economic boost from housing pillar of our bottom-up economic transformation agenda is significant and undeniably much needed. As we speak, affordable housing now directly accounts for 164,000 new jobs created over the past 1 year. Honorable members, today marks a significant milestone in our journey towards providing decent and affordable housing for all. After 2 years of hard work under the Affordable Housing Program, I am proud to announce, and you have seen it in the newspapers, the launch of the sale of the first 4,888 housing units, now in completion, across 21 social housing projects. These units, comprising studios, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom homes, are tailored to meet the needs of our people, offering 1,041 social housing units, 2,133 affordable housing units, and 1,714 affordable middle-class housing units in 24 counties. I invite every Kenyan above the age of 18 to join this historic journey towards home ownership. Guided by our principle of fairness, one ID, one house. Every eligible Kenyan is encouraged to express interest, visit these developments, view the show houses, and engage with on-site staff who are already too willing to assist. The allocation process will be transparent and equitable, ensuring that every qualified applicant has an equal opportunity to own a home. Honorable members, as part of the government's endeavor to build a nation grounded in intergenerational equity, opportunities, and empowerment for all Kenyans, we have made significant strides in implementing another key pillar of our manifesto, labor migration. This initiative seeks to harness Kenya's abundant human capital by creating meaningful job opportunities abroad, empowering our citizens, and positioning Kenyan talent on the global stage. Since July 2023, we have successfully facilitated employment of 105,367 Kenyans across multiple countries in a wide range of jobs. These opportunities span professional, semi-skilled, skilled, and unskilled sectors, including positions for nurses, teachers, and chefs. The National Employment Authority, the lead agency driving our ambitious initiative to create jobs opportunities for qualified Kenyans locally and internationally, currently has a role of 560,000 job openings worldwide. I have encouraged many members to participate in this space. Our focus extends beyond destinations such as the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, Bahrain, Oman, United Arab Emirates, Germany, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Qatar. We are also expanding our reach by actively negotiating bilateral labor agreements with new potential markets, including Russia, Poland, and Jordan. These efforts are driven by our commitment to open up new pathways for employment, ensuring that Kenyans are well represented in the global workforce. In the digital economy, we are expanding last-mile fiber optic connectivity using the extensive Kenya Power Transmission Lines network to the most remote and underserved areas of Kenya, and making significant strides to establish digital and ICT hubs. This has created a foundation for digital transformation, enabling IT economy workers, young digital creators, and entrepreneurs to access a wealth of opportunities locally and globally. By bridging the digital divide, we are empowering our youth to compete on an equal footing in the global marketplace and showcasing Kenya's ingenuity and innovation. I congratulate members of this August House for being part of this grand digital plan. Your support, encouragement, and effort is duly recognized. We have also prioritized the empowerment of individuals within the informal sector by unlocking their potential through targeted investment. This includes accessible loans, capacity building programs, and regulatory reforms designed to ease growth. A notable achievement is the partnership with the banking industry, which I participated in a month ago. This extended an additional 150 billion in loans to micro, small, and medium enterprises, complementing the government's efforts to nurture this vital sector. On financial inclusion, we have made remarkable progress through the Hustler Fund. To date, this innovative initiative has disbursed Kenya shillings 60 billion, benefiting 24.6 million Kenyans and mobilized over 3.3 billion in savings. The fund maintains a repeat customer base of 8.5 million beneficiaries with a repayment rate of 79%. To mark the fund's second anniversary, we have taken a bold step by launching a third product specifically tailored for small and medium enterprises. This new initiative will initially target 2 million beneficiaries who have demonstrated a strong credit history with the fund. By so doing, we aim to create a pathway for these entrepreneurs to transition into the formal banking system, thereby deepening financial inclusion and strengthening the SME sector. This milestone underscores our commitment to build a financially inclusive and economically resilient nation. The progress we have made has been possible only because the people of Kenya have been courageous, strong, determined, and patriotic. It has also been enabled by a number of early interventions under our bottom-up economic transformation agenda, and at the same time, created space for us to implement the agenda in full. As we proceed with implementation, we expect to quickly capitalize on the gains we have secured and invest resources in the economy with an emphasis on strategic pillars of our plan. As more projects get off the ground, more people get hired, liquidity levels improve, more money ends up in people's pockets. Honorable members, you know we are a democracy. Democracy is a founding principle and defining value of our nation. Democracy is hard-won, non-negotiable right, and guarantees freedom that we are proud of and must always defend. Our national democratic culture expresses itself energetically through robust discourse, boldly speaking truth to power, and holding leadership to account. It is a tradition of fearless expression and vigorous public participation. This is who we are, and there is nothing anyone can do about it. We understand, therefore, that protests are always legitimate and permitted by the Constitution. Protests are conducted by citizens who are peaceful and unarmed. Assemblies, demonstrations, and picketing to advance constitutionalism, increase accountability, and defend the rule of law are constitutional imperatives. Conversely, mobilization in pursuit of criminal agenda, chaos and anarchy are explicitly forbidden because we all have a duty to defend our republic, our constitution, and the rights of all people. The government, in particular, must remain vigilant at all times against modern threats to the sovereignty and territorial integrity of our nation, as well as public order, peace, and security. In this digital era, characterized by transformative innovations, including artificial intelligence, it has never been easier to inform, educate, and entertain the people. At the same time, it has never been easier to misinform, mislead, disinform, incite, and alarm the public. Criminals and subversive elements who infiltrate and hijack peaceful protests are a threat both to legitimate protesters and to the public. Incidences of violent criminality in the name of protests threaten the safety of innocent people, public assets, private property, and the social order. The tension here is stark. We have a democracy which we are proud of, must defend, and should deepen by all means. And at the same time, we have citizens whose lives, rights, we must protect, and a nation whose security, stability, and prosperity we must safeguard. The task at hand is complicated if citizens and state agencies dilute the distinction between the lawful and the criminal, the just and the unjust, thereby making it difficult to tell protesters and security officers from bandits, gangsters, and criminals. It is only by following the law that we are able to achieve our aims, and apportion accountability properly. It should not be possible for robbers and looters to escape accountability by claiming that they were taking part in a protest. Likewise, it should not be possible for security officers to wound, maim, or even kill citizens and claim that they were engaging violent criminals. We all have a duty to make the necessary distinction and to do so clearly to protect democratic expression and guarantee public safety and security. I must now confront an issue of widespread concern regarding the relationship between citizens and the security services in the context of immense threat and intense political dynamism. Numerous allegations have been made concerning disappearance of people during protests. A number of these cases have been resolved, while others have been uncovered as fake news, undermining efforts to find genuine cases of missing persons. A good number of alleged disappearances have also turned out to be arrests made by police officers. In such cases, the suspects have been duly arraigned in court. I must, however, make it very clear that there is no attempt to justify or excuse illegal arrests. Such would be a serious threat to the life and liberty of citizens. I condemn any excessive or extrajudicial action which puts the life and liberty of any person at risk, including disappearances and threats to life. I urge all Kenyans with information about such cases to forward the information to the Directorate of Criminal Investigation and to IPOA, where they suspect members of the police service to be implicated. I am aware, for example, that many of the cases that have been raised are being handled by the Independent Police Oversight Authority, an important step in accountability and justice. Many citizens, as well as various organizations representing and championing women's rights and welfare, have expressed concern about gender-based violence and the increasing cases of killings of female victims by male criminals motivated by primitive expressions of gender-based brutality and impunity. Left unaddressed, these incidents will cause the women of our nation to feel increasingly unsafe, even in their own homes. This is both tragic and unacceptable. It also complicates, in disturbing ways, the struggle by Kenyan women for inclusion, for equality, for dignity, social justice, their rights, their protection, a section of our society that has been marginalized for a long time. I am aware that most of these cases of murder of women by men have been investigated and prosecuted. It is my hope that in due course, those found culpable will face the full force of the law. Members, it is time for each of us, political leaders, public officers, religious leaders, traditional institutions, and family members, to do our part in raising boys into morally upright men who will never need to affirm their masculinity at the expense of women, but instead contribute to making our society just, safe, equal, and inclusive. I appreciate women leaders who have taken time to engage me and propose solutions to address this issue. I have held discussions with other leaders in government, and I have tasked the Deputy President to reach out and facilitate collaborative, broad-based, and multi-sectoral deliberations and recommend effective and radically transformative and affirmative action within the next 6 months. This Parliament will recall that early in my tenure, I engaged the leadership of both houses with recommendations on a working formula to actualize meaningful inclusion of women in national leadership. We must seriously question the drivers and the motives of resistance and reluctance to take the next step in actualizing the 2/3 gender rule. We must call out those who continue to sabotage this right of women to contribute to the governance of our nation. Women are not second-class citizens. They deserve equal representation at all levels. Honorable members, without a doubt, honorable members, without a doubt, every shilling of our national revenue matters and must be used to deliver maximum value to Kenyans. Wastage, corruption, and the abuse of office are grave risks to national transformation and a direct threat to the well-being of the people. I have given my full commitment to serve as a responsible steward of public resources. To begin with, I have championed the automation and digitization of government services and revenue collection to promote transparency, seal loopholes that lead to revenue losses, enhance accountability, and eliminate opportunities for corruption, therefore improving efficiency, transparency, and integrity. I am delighted to report to this House on the dramatic improvements we have recorded by automating and digitizing our revenue collection and service delivery through eCitizen. We have so far digitized 20,855 government services, up from 350 in 2022, representing an increase of almost 6,000%, while we have significantly improved revenue collection. Take the case of Kenya Wildlife Service, whose total revenue for the year ending June 30th, 2023 was 5.3 billion. But after implementing a digital revenue collection system, the revenue grew to 7.6 billion in the year ending June 30th this year, representing a 43% increase. This initiative alone has firmly put KWS on the path to self-sufficiency, freeing the corporation from reliance on exchequer support. I commend the teams at KWS, as well as all other government institutions that have leveraged technology and the digitization process to improve revenue collection. Under the Digital Health Act that you members passed in this House, we are determined to enhance efficiency and transparency provided by technology in the provision of healthcare services to eliminate fraud and fake claims. Tax revenue mobilization by the Kenya Revenue Authority, starting with its customs revenue system, is equally being worked on to ensure that revenue leaks are eliminated. Because corruption is a serious risk to social justice, sustainable development, and national security, and the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, I am harnessing our working relationship with other arms of government to encourage the judiciary and parliament to enhance integrity and efficiency by adopting digitization and automation. As I do so, I must caution that all these measures will only achieve intended results if, and only if, the institutions charged with combating corruption and promoting efficiency and integrity stop hiding behind the transparent screen of independence and rise up to meet the people's expectation on matters integrity. let me say this. It cannot be the case that the Director of Public Prosecutions keeps dropping cases because somehow they are unable to produce witnesses. It cannot also be the case that corruption suspects rush to court to obtain anticipatory bail that shields them from due process and enables them to compromise investigations. There is also no reason for corruption cases to drag in our courts for years when the same courts are able to determine election petitions and related disputes within 6 months. Members, it is also unacceptable for the Houses of Parliament to deny the nation a much-needed instrument in the war against corruption by continuing to sabotage the passage of the Conflict of Interest Bill. I implore you, honorable members, to stop dragging your feet on this bill, unless, my friends, there is a conflict of interest in the passing of the conflict of interest legislation. Similarly, the National Treasury has been dragging its feet in the implementation of an e-procurement system for the last 10 years. Today, I have directed the National Treasury to roll out the e-procurement system by the end of the first quarter of 2025 and ensure that going forward, only procurement undertaken through this system is sanctioned and paid for. Of the many difficult assignments I have undertaken, this fight against corruption is one I now take on with resolve going forward. Let this serve as notice to all. Independent institutions charged with this responsibility must up their game, pull up their socks, and match up to the expectations of the people of Kenya. Honorable members, I have stated in the past and now reiterate today that in the face of undisputed evidence or credible information on corruption, I will not hesitate to take decisive action. Accordingly, I now direct, in furtherance of the principles enshrined in Article 10 of the Constitution on transparency and accountability, and based on new information provided by investigative agencies and partner nations, that the procuring agencies within the Ministry of Transport and the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum immediately cancel the ongoing procurement process for the JKIA expansion public-private partnership transaction, as well as Let me repeat this for clarity. I have said that because of the information that has been provided to us by partner nations, I have directed agencies within the Ministry of Transport and the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum to immediately cancel the ongoing procurement process for JKI expansion public-private partnership transaction, as well as the recently concluded Ketrago transmission in public partnership procurement process. and immediately commence the process of onboarding alternative partners, because these are important projects. Honorable members, the work of taking our nation forward is our collective responsibility as citizens. For this reason, we value the contribution of all, whether they come in the form of support or encouragement, suggestion or proposal, criticism or protest. I believe that the most powerful component of leadership is listening and learning. Therefore, I engage with you and listen to all citizens, their elected leaders, public officers, administrators, teachers, and other professionals, learners and the youth, farmers, fisherfolk, pastoralists, traders, craftsmen, artisans, nurses, doctors, community health promoters, and workers across all types of sectors in every sector. I listen too to religious leaders, the civil society, industrialists, entrepreneurs, and professionals. Their contributions and everyone else's have my full attention and commitment to respond through positive, affirmative action that takes the national transformation endeavor forward. I commit to continue listening and acting, to engage, debate, deliberate with you, and to take your input into consideration in serving our nation. By design, the bottom-up economic transformation agenda is defined by its capacity to elicit feedback in the course of implementation and incorporate the same in making improvements and further progress. With every input from stakeholders, our ability to drive progress increases. By listening to you and to every Kenyan, I am able to serve this nation better. As we take part in this necessary discourse, I want to make one thing very clear. I am fully invested in the success of the strategies, policies, programs, and projects under our plan. For this reason, I am committed to do all it takes and work with every willing Kenyan until we succeed, because failure is not an option. Given the challenges our nation has faced, it has become clear, honorable members, that overcoming these obstacles requires the collective energy, the collective wisdom, ideas, and goodwill of Kenyans of all political, cultural persuasions, religious beliefs, and walks of life. The wisdom of entrenching national unity and inclusivity as a national value in our Constitution is clearly evident. Our diversity is our source of power. And this moment in the history of our nation calls for radical collaboration to transcend our challenges. We do not have the luxury of magnifying our differences. It is time for all of us to pull together and usher the nation into the future of our dreams. With this in mind, I initiated extensive consultations with leaders from across all divides, public and private. Through these engagements, we resolved to reimagine unity and inclusivity and harness the full potential of our nation through bipartisanship, which culminated in the formation of the broad-based cabinet. The imperative to accommodate the contribution of leaders across the aisle inspired us to constitute the broad-based government, a partnership based on shared purpose and premised on a commitment to bring our national values into action to turbocharge the implementation of the transformation of our nation. Being a farmer myself, transformation is like farming. A lot of resources are invested in plowing the land and planting the seeds, after which there is nothing to see for all the work except stretches of bare earth. Impatience might lead to anxiety and lamentation of the waste of effort in seed buried in the earth. However, after a brief wait, seedlings sprout, requiring close attention, weeding, and patient tending into the crop that will be ready for harvest. So is economic transformation. It requires hard work, investment of resources, patience, and faith. We have planted the seed, and all over the field, it is beginning to sprout. While admittedly there remains much to fulfill, our collective hope to deliver the national economic transformation that this nation so dearly deserves is on course. I am proud to declare that we have also made undeniable progress in building on the strong foundation laid in previous years and getting the national development project off the ground. Honorable members, from the reports that I have the honor to table for your consideration and debate, there is reason to be optimistic that our forward march is unstoppable and that our capacity and commitment to live and work by our national values and principles of governance are stronger than ever before. Our nation is a proud member of the international community, making our contributions to the global progress boldly and with great determination. We stand collectively facing the dawn with confidence that our expectations of a bright daylight is not in vain. In summary, honorable members, and all fellow citizens, the state of our nation is resilient. And now, honorable speakers, it is my pleasure to submit to Parliament the following 3 reports as required by the Constitution. Number 1 is the report on all measures taken and progress achieved in the realization of national values. The second, report on progress made in fulfilling the international obligations of the Republic of Kenya. And the third, report on the state of our security. Now, therefore, I hand over the reports to the Speaker of the Senate and to the Speaker of the National Assembly. Thank you all. God bless you, and God bless Kenya.
Order, honorable members, Your Excellency the President, the Right Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, honorable members, distinguished guests, please be upstanding. Business of the day, and it is now time to adjourn. The Senate stands adjourned until Tuesday, the 26th of November, 2024, at 2:30 p.m. in the Senate chamber.
Honorable members of the National Assembly, the National Assembly now stands adjourned until Monday, 25th November 2024, at 2:30 p.m. May I also take this opportunity on Monday. I repeat, the National Assembly stands adjourned until Monday, 25th November 2024 at 2:30 p.m. May I take this opportunity to invite all honorable members and our guests to a reception at the Parliament courtyard. May I also request all of you honorable members and our guests to remain standing in your places until the procession of His Excellency the President and the speakers of the two houses leave the chamber.
Well, our dear viewers, that marks the end of the third State of the Nation address by the President of
na mwiroreri hau niho turatirihira cikaro cia muthenya wa umuthi cia bunge kuria President William Ruto kwarageria giikaro kia bunge cieri agitariria haria bururi uri gukinyeria ihinda riri maundu-ini matiganite maria bururi kana a Kenya mauma na hikiki muno metereire kuigwa uria President William Ruto kuga na toguo urona hau karavisheni-ini yaku ni ati kuri na mohoro ma hinahi na ni mamwe ma maria President akorwo akiaririria muthenya wa umuthi ohoro wigie gukanja kandarathi gatagate ga ministry ya ukui undumwe na ministry ya hinya wa kuhuthika iria bururi wa Kenya uria thiaga na mbere na gwikanirira igie kwaramia kiharo kia ndege kia JKIA undumwe na uhoro wa gutambia thitima kugerera ruhonge rwa utambia wa thitima rwa Ketraco na President ni akorwo agitariria ati kandarathi icio ni igukanjwo kurumirira horo uria weyumiritie wigie ungumania wa kambuni iyo ririkana umwe wa ene kambuni iyo Gotham Adani ni ahinguriirwo thitango cia ungumania kuria bururi-ini wa Amerika na President augite ati kumana na wirutiri wake wa gutigirira ati ni arwana ungumania ekuoya ikinya riu ria gukorwo agikanja kandarathi icio nigetha kuonania ati ni arathie na mbere na kuhingia ciraniro cia kuhingia ungumania o ringi gutariria ati President ni akorwo akianirira gukanjwo gwa kandarathi ya kambuni ya kana kandarathi ya Adani iria irathiaga na mbere igie kwaramio gwa kiharo kia Jomo Kenyatta undumwe na kambuni ya utambia wa hinya ya Ketraco na President athite ministry ya ukui undumwe na ministry ya utambia wa mahinya honge iria cikoragwo cikihutania na uhoro wigie uheani wa kandarathi icio cikorwo cigikanja kandarathi o kumana na riboti cia ungumania iria igumeire umwe wa ene kambuni icio Gotham Adani tugithie maundu-ini mangi maria President William Ruto akorwo akiaria muthenya wa umuthi ni akorwo akihutia undu a Kenya aingi makoretwo makiaria uhoro waguo uhoro wigie andu kuimwo wiyathi wao agigatiba na makiria wiyathi wao wigie uhoro wa gutabania mirurungano na riria mirurungano tayo yatabanio gugakorwo na andu maraikio ngono mugaro wa watho gugakorwo na andu maranyitwo migwate gugakorwo na andu maroragwo magithie na mbere na kunyita itemi riao ria gigatiba ria gutabania mirurungano hindi iria mari na undu utaramakenia na President ni akorwo agitariria nema ne gukoretwo na riboti ta ici akorwo agitariria imwe ni ikoretwo cikioererwo na andu amwe magakinyo magoti-ini no arauga kuri na maheni maingi muno marakorwo marigiceirie riboti ta ici ciegie andu kunyitwo migwate amwe kuragwo hindi iria mararurungana no ni ateterithia ati bururi wa Kenya mundu wothe ari na kihoto giake gia gukorwo agitabania mururungano no ni kugerera njira iria njitikiriku kiwatho na akorwo agitariria mirurungano iria rimwe tukoretwo tukiona guku bururi-ini ni gukoretwo na mirurungano iraingirirwo ni ekinai na akorwo agitariria ati rimwe ni kurakorwo na hinya muno gukorwo maabitha a ugitiri magikira mihaka kumenya no urarurungana ari na wendi mwega na kumenya no uri mururungano icio nigetha agagie thayo wa muingi kana hihi akorwo ni muici kana hihi akorwo maundu maria arenda gutabania ni mugaru na aria maratabania mirurungano iyo na arauga tikuga ati ni areherera maundu maria makoretwo makihanika tikuga ati maundu macio ni amahingeire maitho no ateterithia ati he bata angikorwo hari na mundu utaroneka angikorwo hari na mundu Kenya marekuira ahingĩrĩtwo mũgarũ wa watho. Mũkenya ũcio nĩ agĩrĩirwo gũkorwo akĩhũra riboti ceceni-inĩ cia borithi kana ona rũhonge-inĩ rwa ũthuthuria rwa DCI, na akorwo akiuga kũrĩ na riboti nyingĩ iria cikoretwo cikiandĩkithio cirathiĩ na mbere na gũthuthurio. Oho president nĩ akorwo agĩthiĩ na mbere na gũtetera mogarũrũku marĩa marathiĩ na mbere rũhonge-inĩ rwa ũgima wa mwĩrĩ rungu rwa mũbango mwerũ wa marĩhi rwa SHA, akiuga ona angĩkorwo kũrĩ na maũndũ matakinyanĩrĩte mũbango-inĩ ũyũ wa SHA, muoroto waguo nĩ mwega na muoroto waguo nĩ wa gũkorwo tũgĩteithĩrĩria bũrũri gũtigĩrĩra atĩ mũkenya wothe gũtekũmakania kana arĩ na ũhoti kana ndarĩ na ũhoti makĩria wa kĩmbeca nĩ akorwo akĩrigitwo na akarigitwo ategũtigĩrwo mũrigo wa magoti. President nĩ akorwo agĩtarĩria atĩ gũkinyĩria ihinda rĩrĩ Akenya milioni 15 nĩ mandĩkithĩtio mũbango-inĩ ũyũ wa SHA. Nĩ akorwo agĩtarĩria atĩ mũbango-inĩ ũrĩa ũrarĩ ho wa NHIF ũrarĩ wa andũ arĩa andĩke no ũyũ mwerũ wa SHA nĩ gũkorwo ũgĩtigĩrĩra atĩ nginyagia andũ arĩa matandĩkĩtwo mawĩra kana arĩa meyandĩkĩte ũndũ ũmwe na arĩa matarĩ na mawĩra nĩ makorwo mũbango-inĩ ũyũ nĩgetha magakorwo makĩgunĩka na maũndũ marĩa megũkorwo kana hĩndĩ ĩrĩa mabatara ũrigiti. Nĩ atarĩria ũhoro wa marĩhi marĩa marakorwo magĩthiĩ na mbere rungu rwa mũbango ũyũ wa SHA na makĩria mathirĩ marĩa thibitarĩ cikoretwo cikĩrandũra thirikari. Nĩ auga ihinda-inĩ rĩa mweri ũmwe thirikari nĩ ĩkoretwo ĩkĩrĩha mathirĩ ma ciringi bilioni 5 na atarĩria muthenya wa rũciũ thirikari nĩ ĩgakorwo ĩkĩrekereria ciringi bilioni 3.7 cia kũrĩha mathirĩ marĩa makoretwo kuo. Ririkana mathibitarĩ ma andũ kĩũmbe ũndũ ũmwe na mathibitarĩ marĩa makoragwo rungu rwa kanitha kana rungu rwa honge cia ndini nĩ makoretwo magĩteta kumana na mathirĩ maingĩ marĩa rũhonge rwa NHIF rũrarĩ namo mao, na amwe tũgakĩona kumwe marauga matigũkorwo makĩamũkĩra andũ rungu rwa mũbango ũyũ wa SHA na marakoragwo makĩenda mũndũ akarĩha mbeca baribari. No kwa ihinda rĩrĩ president nĩ akorwo agĩtarĩria atĩ mathirĩ macio no marathiĩ na mbere na kũrĩhwo. Oho president nĩ akorwo akĩhutĩrĩria ũhoro ũngĩ ũkoretwo hakuhĩ mũno na thirikari yake kana ũmwe wa mĩbango ĩrĩa president akoretwo naguo thirikari-inĩ yake. No ũyũ nĩ ũhoro wĩgiĩ waki wa nyũmba cia thogora wa thĩ, na akorwo agĩtarĩria ihinda-inĩ rĩa mwaka ũmwe rũhonge rũrũ rwa waki kana mũbango ũyũ wa waki wa nyũmba cia thogora wa thĩ nĩ ũhotete gũkorwo ũkĩandĩka andũ 160 mawĩra. Akorwo agĩtarĩria kũrĩ na honge cia kana kũrĩ na maũndũ maingĩ makoragwo magĩthiĩ na mbere hĩndĩ ĩrĩa nyũmba tabarĩra ĩno ya waki wa nyũmba ĩrathiĩ na mbere. Kũrĩ na andũ arĩa mararuta mawĩra matiganĩte kana nĩ arĩa mararuta mawĩra ma moko kana nĩ arĩa mararuta mawĩra marĩa magĩthomeire o ũndũ ũmwe na kũrĩa indo ici iragũrwo. Arauga nĩ kũrateithĩrĩria mũno kwandandũra wonjoria, kwandandũra iganda kumana na kũrĩa indo ici ciragũrwo. Oho nĩ akorwo agĩtarĩria atĩ nyũmba 4,000 nĩ cigũkorwo nĩ cirĩkĩte na nĩ meharĩirie gũkorwo rĩu magĩcitwara thoko kana gũkorwo makĩhe andũ mweke wa gũkorwo makĩgũra nyũmba icio. Macio no mamwe ma maũndũ marĩa ndĩrathiĩ na mbere na gũgũtarĩria megiĩ maũndũ marĩa President William Ruto agweta muthenya wa ũmũthĩ, na ngũtarĩria atĩ ũhoro ũrĩa mũhiũ mũno waumana na ndũmĩrĩri ya president muthenya wa ũmũthĩ nĩ ũhoro wa gũkanjwo gwa kandarathi cia Adani. Kandarathi ici cirarĩ ciĩgiĩ ũhoro wĩgiĩ kwararamia kĩharo kĩa JKIA o ũndũ ũmwe na ũhoro wa gũtambia thitima rungu rwa mũbango wa KETRACO. Kwa ihinda rĩrĩ mwĩroreri, reke twambe tũthiĩ ĩmwe kwa ĩmwe kũrĩa mbunge-inĩ ya bũrũri tũigue amwe a atongoria maũndũ marĩa marauga thutha wa ndũmĩrĩri ya president.
The representative from the livestock rearing community are disappointed that the president did not mention at all issues that we expected him to map out for the livestock subsector. Secondly, the issue of, and this is critical, because he has addressed a number of security issues, the issue of detentions, the issue of abductions, the issue of disappearances by criminal elements within CID and other security sector must come to an end. Because the president has said, if the president is saying he's not allowing illegal detention and abductions, who is anybody else? And I want to say this, one of the elected leaders from Wajir, the Honorable Yusuf Hussein, is missing and has been abducted by the security agencies for the last 70 days. We want the president to live by his word and ensure and then direct those who are holding the Honorable Yusuf Hussein to release him so that he joins his family, or otherwise take him to court. Thank you so much.
We of course want to just hear from the members of the cabinet.
Cikaro-inĩ cia mbunge kuria atongoria matiganĩte marathie na mbere na kuruta mawoni mao megie ndũmĩrĩri ya president muthenya wa ũmũthĩ, na ta ũcio tũraigua agĩtarĩria ũhoro ũrĩa president akorwo akihutia ũhoro wĩgie andũ kũnyitwo mĩgwate. Ririkana nĩ gũkoretwo na MCA kuma kuria kaunti ya Wajir kwĩrĩkanaga anyitirwo mĩgwate, no gũkinyĩria ihinda rĩrĩ ndarĩ amenyekana kuria ari kwari hindi kwari mwiri wonekanite, na thutha wa uthuthuria wa mwiri gwikwo gukimenyekana mwiri ucio ti wake, na koguo nginyagia ihinda riri ndari aramenyeka kuria ari. Kwa ihinda riri minister wa kigina CS Badi ni arathi na mbere na kwaria, tuthikiririe maria arauga.
And there are various procurement methods. The one where we have, which is now commonly known as the Adani deals, the JKIA and the others, have been through what we call PIP. And the beauty with PIP is that it can be stopped at whatever stage before the negotiations are concluded. So we were still at the procurement process. Whether it is JKIA or even the ones relating to energy, they were all under procurement process, and the negotiations had not even begun. For JKIA, what we were still doing was the due diligence. And so, to me, it is timely, it is stopped at a time when we don't have any legal challenges, no issues. Actually, this is part and parcel of the process of procuring through PIP, what we call public engagement and also due diligence. And we have done due diligence as a government, and the report from our partners is that there are a lot of questions around the proposed procurement method.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Waziri Mbadi. Quickly, Waziri Eden Duale. Welcome back from Azerbaijan, from COP29. The president has made a landmark decision this afternoon, that of cancellation of the Adani Group. Where does this place Kenya and the public-private partnership going forward?
I have been listening to presidents coming to make a State of the Nation address, from President Kibaki, President Uhuru, and President Ruto. I think two key issues I can pick. The direction of the president on the Adani is a very clear signal. It's a very clear signal on the war on corruption and the position of the president. Because the voices of the citizens can have been heard and can only be said in the presence of the people's representative. Number two, public-private partnership is not new to Kenya. The SGR, the Express Highway, majority of our power producers are on PPP. So we can still go back, do due diligence, get a reputable firm, because we must fix our airport. We must fix our electricity generation. But because Kenyans and the citizens have raised a number of issues, I think he is a listening president. Second, and more important that the president said today, is that the era of extrajudicial killing must come to an end. It's only God, Allah, who gives you life and His own who takes. I think it was not fair. I mean, I'm one person who campaigned on the platform for President Ruto on the agenda of an end to extrajudicial killing. Myself and him, let me talk of the president, he's a God-fearing person. I don't think President Ruto will ever in his life sanctions extrajudicial killing. I think those Kenyans who are missing, now you have an opportunity to go to the DCI. Let's get facts, not fake news. If you have lost your loved one, please from tomorrow go to the DCI, document it, go to IPOA. The president has made it very, very clear. But in a summary, the president talked about how when you invest in production, how you get the results. We invested in cheap fertilizer, you have seen the result. Kenya today is food sufficient. Kenya today wants to export sugar. He talked about the Hustler Fund. About 85 billion have been given to 6.5 million Kenyans. So I think it was the shortest State of the Nation address, but with a lot that we will discuss in the coming weeks. I'm not a member of Parliament, so I won't have the opportunity the next 3 days or the next 3 sittings to discuss. But I'm sure my colleagues are here. They will have their day. Thank you.
And very quickly, maybe as we also queue on the other end, very just briefly, you've heard the members of the cabinet say how this is very key for the country and for the cabinet and the country at large. What do you take of this afternoon's speech?
I'll be very brief, Leto. And number one, I think what we're losing here is the fact that the president was emphasizing how our economy is getting stronger. With a very low inflation of 2.7% is a big indicator of our economic growth. With a GDP of 5.6%, it's also a big indicator of economic growth. And the fact that inflation is being low and every single indicator of economic stability of a country is shown today that we're economically strong with a good food security and almost, in my opinion, I think a good agricultural production that we have today. So in essence, to finish it up, is that our state of the economy is very strong and we hope it will keep going that way. Thank you very much.
From the Health Committee, yes. The President touched on the universal health coverage. Yes. Just take your position here. What do you take of his commitment with the Social Health Insurance Fund?
I like his commitment, but he brought a new term that we're actually going to look at, Taifa Care. So I really have to understand what really are we now calling Taifa Care. But his commitment has come out very well. The only thing that has been concerned to me, when he has talked about the cancellation of the Adani contracts, we know that in SHA also there was involvement of Adani. So I'm concerned, is the one in SHA, in the health care, still remaining, or that one is also going to be cancelled? That is extremely important. It involved about 104 billion. It involved 104 billion shillings. So we would like to know, is the Adani involvement in SHA also going to be cancelled or it remains? And what are the details of this new terminology of Taifa Care? But other than that, I liked its involvement. Overall, the President actually addressed the issues of health, the issues of security, the issues of education, which are a concern. But I'm also happy that he actually said he gave timelines of what will be done when. Now, that is good for us because now we are actually going to assess the seriousness on the basis of those timelines. But on Adani, just one thing I'd like to say. What has surprised me, that as early as this morning, there was indications that the government is going to go on with the Adani contract. And then suddenly in the afternoon it comes, it raises a question, what is the consultation process within government?
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa. Dr. Gogo, just a quick one before we go to other members. Just quickly, your comments.
I want to appreciate the President for his well-measured State of the Nation address. He's touched on critical matters. I like the way he came out strongly to talk about us bringing up young men into adult men who are going to take care of the nation, who are going to take care of the women agenda. The women agenda is a male agenda. He addressed feminism that is happening. He also critically looked at ways of improving food security, and I want to appreciate him for mentioning increment in agricultural production. I want to appreciate him and I want to pray that they translate it into improving nutritional security for the CBC children so that we have a well-secured future. I also want to thank the President for addressing the issue of Adani. And when he did that, he realized that for the first time, I'm a second term member of Parliament, and members gave him a standing ovation to show how this serious is to the people they represent. Long live Kenya, long live Ruto. We are in broad-based government. Thank you.
All right, quickly, Mheshimiwa, for Bomet East, just tell us your quick comments so that we allow others to speak.
Thank you very much. I'll just say only about two things. I was very pleased what the President told us today about the issues of sugar, that, we have been importing sugar for a very long time, and very recently that we are just heading in the direction of exporting sugar so soon. So this shows that there is a very good management of the government from the head of state and coming down. The issue of Adani, for those who doesn't know, personally I've worked in that airport for a very long time, and I've been interacting with the people who are working at the airport. They were just not for it, and they thought everything was going to be so bad for them. And thank God that the President today made a pronouncement that this thing, the Adani deal, is going to be cancelled. And this goes at a day where the US and the America had made some arrest of the guys. It's called for the arrest of this guy Adani in America for money laundering and all the issues of doing business like what he wanted to do in Kenya here. I just wanted to applaud the President for all that good speech. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much Mheshimiwa. Mheshimiwa Kiborek, haraka tu tupige kwa Kiswahili sasa, Waswahili waelewe haraka alafu tumalize.
Asante sana ndugu yangu kakangu. I want to say the President's speech was well measured. Mwenzangu Kimaya ataongea na Kiswahili. The speech was well measured, and for the first time the President spoke really very well touching all the issues. The speech started by acknowledging that we have challenges as a country, but we have to forge forward together as a country. The President talked well on SHA, he talked well on the Adani thing, he talked well on all the issues that are affecting Kenya, including the university funding model. To me, the President today spoke to the hearts of Kenyans. Today, the President spoke to the heart of those who believe in his transformation agenda and his visionary ideas of this country. I want to tell the President, he's the first listening President, because for the first time we have a President who can drop an idea when Kenyans tell him there's a better idea over what he believes he can deliver for this country. So I'm proud of the President's speech, and we want to tell Kenyans that it's time that we rally behind the President and support him, for when he succeeded, it's Kenya that succeed. God bless Kenya.
Thank you.
Mimi ningependa kupongeza rais kwa sababu yale mambo ambayo ameyataja siku ya leo inaonyesha kwamba rais ni mtu anasikiza. Ameonyesha kwamba anasikiza wa Kenya. Na ukiangalia ile mambo ambayo ameyakusia, kwanza tukianzia hii ya Adani, rais ameonyesha wa Kenya kwamba nimesikia sauti zenu. Hii maneno ya Adani yote tuyafutilia mbali. Ya pili, rais pia amekusia mambo kama ile ya Moi University. Mimi kama ninavyotoka sehemu ya North Rift, nataka kumpongeza rais kwa maana amesema ataifuatilia yeye mwenyewe. Aone ya kwamba maneno ya Moi University imekuwa solved, ndio wanafunzi wetu ambao wako kwa vyuo vikuu waweze kusoma. Jambo la tatu ni kwa wale wakulima. Rais amekusia maneno ya ukulima, ameangalia maneno ya kahawa, ameangalia maneno ya masiwa, ameangalia maneno ya sukari. Na amesema tukiendelea hivyo, Kenya tutairudisha mahali ambapo sisi wote tunaitaka, hata kama tuko na changamoto ya madeni. Sasa mimi napongeza rais na tunakuambia rais, tukiendelea hivyo Kenya itaenda mbele. Asante rais.
Asante sana kwake Senator Mofaya. Alafu tukuje kwa chair pale security. Quickly, maoni yako, watu wa Mount Kenya East wanasemaje leo?
Mimi I think what I would say today the country is very happy. We have had a very rich speech from His Excellency the President. The President has dwelt very heavily on the issue of corruption. And I'm very sure this country has been debated by corruption for a very long time. And I'm sure even from the speech, the President is very much committed to make sure that Kenya is freed from those corruption scandals and cartels. He has demonstrated that by cancelling the Adani, which has been too fishy. And I think the country from now and forth is very happy, and we're going to see some very serious changes for that matter.
Thank you, Senator Mofaya Tharakanithi. Mheshimiwa Dido Raso, tuambie tu maoni yako. How do you take the President's speech today? What is your picking point from what he said?
Thank you very much. I think one thing which I carried away from that speech is courage. The President was able to courageously talk about Adani, about corruption, about the issues that have been at the core of what Kenyans have been asking, particularly in the universal health care. Secondly, the issue of microeconomic stability. The future of Kenya is bright because he's saying, look at it, the dollar was this much, now the dollar is just 129. We are able to give farmers subsidized fertilizers, that we have enough food production. These all are indicators that Kenya is on the right trajectory. Thirdly, and more importantly, I think is the issue of corruption. We say that 1/3 of our income actually disappears, including what we borrow. It is the high time the president addressed himself to that, and he did. Going forward, I think this country must face corruption in the face and say it must stop.
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa for Marakwet West, Kipchumba. The president has not talked about the lecturer strike, and today we had something that was happening in your committee, the Committee of Education. What do you say about it?
Now, today we had a meeting before the Committee of Education, and I want to tell the nation that we were able to discuss the issue of teacher strike, and Treasury confirmed that we have 4.3 billion shillings. So for that reason, there's a likelihood that the lecturers will resume to classes this week, and it will be positive because most of our students in university have been outside, they are not being taught. But concerning today's SONA address by the president, I think he touched many things, and it was a positive speech. There were many issues that he touched on the issue of corruption, the issue of fertilizer, and so many other things. But for me, the highlight for the day was the issue of Adani. I want to sincerely thank him because he listened to Kenyans who have said that we do not associate ourselves with this deal of Adani. But now, going forward, the question is this. This deal has been cancelled. There will be consequences. This was a contract that was signed. There will be consequences for breach of the contract. And for that reason, those who are involved in the irregularities leading to the cancellation of this particular deal, the law must take its course. They must be answerable to this country because we have lost and we will lose a lot of money because, one, we have delayed the process. Number two, it has led to a cancellation, meaning, therefore, that there was no enough advisory to the president because if this was cancelled, there was no enough advisory and therefore it has been declared null and void and therefore consequences must flow.
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa. Quickly, Mheshimiwa, maoni yako haraka haraka. Tueleze jina lako kwanza kwa Wakenya wakujue na maoni yako. Let's continue, Mheshimiwa, tuambie maoni yako siku ya leo, ni yapi ambao unaona kwamba rais amegusia vizuri?
Nikiwa mjumbe wa Baringo Kusini, nataka nishukuru kwanza rais kwa ile hotuba aliweza kutuba leo kwa bunge, na nashukuru kwa sababu alitoa hotuba ambayo inashikana na maisha ya sasa ya Wakenya, hasa vijana. Wakati aliweza kutaja sana mambo ya kuandika kazi vijana na kutafutia vijana kazi hata nje ya nchi ya Kenya, hiyo ni kitu muhimu sana. Jambo lingine ni mambo ya elimu, kwamba kuna mpangilio serikali wamepanga kwa mambo ya elimu, mambo ya ukulima, kuongeza ukulima, fertilizers ama fertilizers ndio wapate kutoa vyakula mingi katika shamba. Mambo mengine ambayo yeye aliweza kutaja ni mambo ya afya, jinsi wataweza kuwa na mpangilio ya afya. Mambo mengine ni mambo ya maendeleo. Hapo nchi yote ameweza kutaja, na mambo ya corruption. Mambo ya corruption aliweza kutaja kwa njia mzuri, na hii mambo ya Adani aliweza kusema kwamba amecancel hizo, na zile zingine ambaye ya stima ameweza kucancel zote, na hiyo ni kazi mzuri ambayo tunahitaji kama Wakenya.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa.
Tutakuwa kuna nafasi ya kuongea zaidi kuhusu hiyo.
Okay. Acha niongee na Senator, alafu nije kwako kwa haraka. Senator, you are the whistleblower of this thing. You made so many press conferences here in Parliament saying that we need to do away with the Adani deals. What does it make you feel today?
I'm very happy and grateful to His Excellency the President. As you are aware, from day one, The hallmark of President's State of the Nation address today is the cancellation of Adani deals, both on energy and roads and contract. I'm excited that we should also extend to health, because we are aware that Adani was engaged in other public-private partnership. This heralds a new mark of engaging in transparent and accountable in terms of PPPs in the country, public-private partnership. And number two is that to thank the President, this is fighting corruption head-on. We have been right. And you remember today, even in the Energy Committee, we did tell the CS, OPO and I to stop further engagement with Adani Group. And you are aware, even in the U.S. Justice Department has indicted Adani. You remember there was Swiss freezing of the money by the Adani Group of companies. So I think this is a new mark that the government, and I'm happy the President has directed all ministries that any engagement, including public-private partnership with international donors or partners or financiers, that it should be open, it should be transparent, it should be with integrity. So we expect other sectors that are facing corruption should be extended to other areas. But I think the President has done extremely well in terms of universal health care, in terms of food security, in terms of affordable housing program. The President's speech today was a brevity of soul of wit, and we are proud of it. I think now, in conclusion, the country now is economically stable, and the vibrancy of democracy and political stability is the hallmark. Thank you
so much, Senator. Quickly, Mheshimiwa, jina lako kwanza na utuambie maoni yako haraka haraka.
Thank you so much. My name is Victor Koech Mandazi, Member of Parliament for Chepalengo constituency. I am one most happy member today because the President of Kenya has continuously proven himself as a listening president. Today, all Kenyans are now happy that the monster that was going to derail the issues to do with the airport in our country is now gone. Secondly, then, President has proven himself continuously that this president is not just like any other president. He's a listening president. He listens to everyone. He listens to all the leaders. He listens to all the opinion leaders. He listens to Kenyans. And that is why he has cancelled the Adani deal that was going to eat into the monies of hard-earned money from the Kenyans. Secondly, the president has accepted that we have a challenge in SHA, just like any other new thing that we all embrace. We know that it is difficult for any other person or any other human being to embrace change. He is accepting that SHA as a challenge, but in due course time, SHA is going to work and is going to help the most vulnerable members of the public that come from the needy constituencies, that come from the needy families.
Thank you so much, Honorable Mandazi. Quickly, Mheshimiwa Senator, just tell us your quick comments about the highlights of this State of the Nation address.
One thing that I'm very happy is on the issue of women has been really addressed by the President on this address today, the issue of the femicide and the meeting that the President had, and we are still looking forward that to incorporate through the office of the Deputy President Kindiki to bring this matter to a closure as far as the presidential address was today, something that we are very happy as women. The issue of Adani has been scrapped off. Great deal. An indication that the President is listening to the people. The same way, as far as finance bill is concerned, that he did not assent to it. People have been concerned. Is the President really listening to Mwananchi? And the results are out here. We've seen the issue of the cost has also been addressed in terms of the issues of the fertilizer, cost of production of the cost materials he has also been able to address, and also the digital element as far as also universal health care is concerned, the issue of Taifa care. You know, this is something, Taifa means, you know, the whole country, and it's something that is going to address matters held in this country. So we are very happy.
Thank you so much, Senator Tabitha Mutinda. Mheshimiwa, your name again and your comments quickly.
Thank you very much. My name is Hussein Weitan, the MP for Mandera East. This was a very important address of the nation. It has really given a lot of hope to Kenyans. You know, Kenyans have been complaining about issues related to Adani. You know, KAA employees and employees of JKIA were all complaining. People were hopeless. Our president must have listened to Kenyans and cancelled all deals that are related to Adani, including that of transport and that of energy. One thing that really that was extremely very important is that the president has talked, you know, issues related to our women, our ladies, that are very important to our families. You know, we have a lot of respect for our ladies. Again, the issue of Taifa issues related to insurance is very important. The SHA issue, what we call the NHIF replacement has been a very big problem. But right now, we are going to have a universal health care for all Kenyans. And once you do that, we will have a lot of problems. What we expect now immediately is our economic growth and political stability in this country. Once we have that, we will be able to beat whatever enemies that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Lastly, before I go to Senator, your comments, Mheshimiwa. Unahisi vipi kwamba rais leo ni kama amesikiza wananchi, ameondoa mambo ya ndani, yapi ambayo alikugusa sana wewe?
First of all, mimi ni member of parliament kutoka Kipkelion East. Majina naitwa Joseph Cherorot. Na ningependa kusema kwamba today's speech or address ya president, it is actually the best. One, you've talked about the Adani. Adani actually came without our knowledge, and the way it was brought, I think there was no due diligence which was done properly. And I want to say, even though we have to build our airport, but what happens in future is that we have to do public participation and make sure that the investor who is going to be given any contract in this country, due diligence has to be done properly. And I want also to thank the president because of his commitment. He's a good listener. He has listened.
Mwiroreri turathie na mbere na guthikiriria mawoni ma atongoria matiganite thutha wa President William Ruto gukorwo akiruta ndumiriri yake igie haria bururi uri na mwandiki wito wa mohoro Mase Wadia wa Mureithi atinda agitumathira mohoro nja na thiini wa bunge na kwa ihinda riri riu tunyitanire nake na njira ya imwe kwa imwe. Wadia ni maundu maingi meyumiria no ndikio hihi atongoria aria uraraniria nao ni uriku wa fata mwona wa yumiria kumana na dereti ya president meraho ya umuthi.
Gatho cia mwanya gathoni wajihia na umuthi niguo muthenya uria President William Ruto egukirekagiriria ndumiriri yake na tutegukiria marigu mamwe ma maundu maria agikorwo akiaririria muthenya wa umuthi ni megie kithomo, urimi, wethi wa mawira na wa makiria kana undu uria wagikorwo wa mwanya ni kuregana na girimiti ya gukorwo kwina weiguano wa kibaro kia ndege na muonjoria uri gwito Adani na kwoguo tutekuria ibida inene no nyere tunyitanire na mubunge wa Kinangop kwenya thuku akorwo agitutariria muthenya wa umuthi mamwe ma maundu maria agikorwo akithigiriria kuma gwe president na ringi magikorwo mae ma mwanya. Mwirimu kwenya thuku no utwire mamwe ma maundu maria wagikorwo kigwa president akigweta ma uguni kuri muingi ona kana maria muingi ugwetereire.
President umuthi ni ariria bunge na ariria bururi utori ari medikithia magatiba itu article 10 ati president ni araragiria bunge ritare mwe mwaka na umuthi ni akiaria maundu maria thirikari ikoretwo igika uhoro-ini wigie health, uhoro-ini wigie agriculture, uhoro-ini wigie performance ya economy ona mitaratara ria thirikari inayo in terms of partnerships nigethe hote ku raise revenue cia gugi tafarira mifango ria ino ya maendeleo na undu mwe wauma prominently ni ati tondu inegene ria rikoretwo kuo both locally na internationally na public interest ni akaja kindu gitagwo public private partnership ire iratanyagwo gwiko gatagati ga thirikari ya Kenya na kambuni itagwo Adani ya kuria India uhoro-ini wigie airport tondu ni marari make airport kana ni kurari na itanya ati no manegero airport nigetha mamiran mahote kurikava investment yao na nitukoretwo tukirumira muno uhoro utani tondu ngorogo thini wa kamiti ria ikoragwo ikidili na maundu ma public private partnerships na gwakorwo kwina inegene ringi muno na ona muthenya wa ira turona gatheti ni America ati kambuni ni atuika indicted kuria United States of America na president ria akwadressaga ne ugati kandarathi ciothe iria cirathiaga na mbere kana procurement ya PPPs icio ciothe cikanjwo ya JKIA neno ingi ya kundu gugwitwo Ketrako irari ya thitima so tugakena muno tondu ndimwe ni kwendagwo gukagia na relief andu makaigua tondu na maragitate no wamba warekererio uguo kwina relief na nitwakena muno ni uguo nikinya rio ni president ni kinya very bold tondu gutigithia procurement ikinyete level ira kinyete it's quite a bold move. The other issue yuma ya uria tu shiringi tu honete for the last like 1 year shiringi tu ikoretwo kigia na hinya kuma a high of 162
to 129 today. Uguo ni kuga ati ni kuri na undu ukoretwo thirikari ikoretwo gika na heana mufano mwega muno ati tondu ni murimi wahanda umuthi ndugethaga umuthi no muhaka uheane kahinda nigetha wahanda cimere ucirimire no gakinya hindi ya kugetha. It was such a beautiful analogy and ndĩreciria umuthi mukenya wothe hari ari ni abati agie na kirigiriro na agie na hope ati thirikari itu hari handu turathi. It is only 2 years old na gukinya miaka ingi itatu ina itano no tukuona matunda ma wira mwega ura turakiruta tugacokeria Ngai ngatho tondu ona maendeleo mayo rona magituika ati bururi witu ni urahona. Ngai ni atuhete mbura igatuma twage ku import muno tondu import tumaga ciringi itu yage value ni tondu wa demand ya foreign currency. Asante. Yeah.
Kigena. Karibu sana chairman na no nyende ututaririe muthenya wa umuthi mamwe ma maundu maria wagekoro ukiigua president yakigweta mamwanya makiria ona gukiri muingi na ugitaririe mwiroreri wa Inoro TV mamwe ma maundu maria president yagekoro agitanya we wakekoro ukimaigua na wamakuwa na uritu.
Thank you muno. Wabere ni president witu ni ageria nionania ori geti ni president uthikagereria maoni ma wa Kenya na guthikithia gwake to maundu maria meragwo kana maragirio thiini wa the regular platform you're used to ati tuga magatheti ni kana mishamani tugaga ya social meetings kana kuganu mathuma marwa that maramishi ma Kenya arema posagi especially now because social media is very strong. Kogo moni mariano mekagia X na WhatsApp na kuria kogi kube ni amonaga ni amathikageria ucio ni undu mwe na kogo ni njira tofauti muno ya utongoria riu ati riu maoni ma Kenya to uria marauga thiini wa the formal programs but on a maudu on a kule marauga kana ni hashtags icio cia X kana kodo kuria kugi na baigire ne ugati uhoro wa economy gukorwa igithi na mbere wega tondu inflation ni thiete the exchange rate nio value ya ciringi tu nio ongererekete twina growth njega ya GDP no they ugati bado bia itiri cirakinya mihiko ya Kenya na jeremwe area bia itakinyete thini wa mihiko ya Kenya tondu thaici twina billion makiria ma 500 iria she held na national government ni do pending bills na koguo onoko economy ni irakora tondu irahuthira bia cia raia tondu services iria na goods iria raia masupplier gwe thirikari matirihitwo na koguo ni turera national especially national treasury kugia na mikakati na tuharakishe kuriha mbeca ici kuria Kenya niguo mbeca ici cia tucokio back to the economy no tukuona andu makigia mbeca thini wa mihuko yao na economy itu igituika ni gukura ndakani ningi ni undu wawe kuheana responsibility especially gucenjia horo wa gender based violence tondu reporting kuma kuri borithi ithie thini wa thibitarĩ niguo aikorwo mundu wothe ni raigwa ni kwena gender based violence athie guthondekwo kana kurigitwo thini wa thibitarĩ ni ekwata ku make that reporting thini wa thibitarĩ tondu urakoraga andu aria tura entrance gukorwo ati nio mekunyihia horo wa gender based violence aria ni thigari citu urakora onao ni perpetrators ama maundu mana koguo gucenjia kwa that we I hope ni gukurehe kihoto thini wa the insane the unpalatable deaths that we are seeing in our sisters, our mothers and our wives.
Thank you muno. Thank you. Aya. Gathani wajehia macio no mamwe ma mawoni maria atongoria kuma bunge magekoro makiuga magitariria ati mamwe ma maundu maria President William Ruto agekoro akigweta ni mamwe magugekoro magiteithiriria muingi na makiria maria megukoro mari ma uguni na maundu ma uthii wa na mbere. Jokie Mwaro kuri we Gathani wajehia kuma studio.
Thank you muno Maseo Wadia wa Muriithi ni undu wa kwaraniria na atongoria acio ndumwe na gigutumathira mohoro maria matinda makihanika mwena ucio wa bunge na tugithie na mbere na gukuririkania mwiroreri-ini ati ni maundu maingi makorwo makihanika muthenya wa umuthi na maingi megie uhoro wegie gukanjwo gwa kadarathi cia adani na tucoke ku bunge tuthie na mbere na kuigwa maria atongoria marauga.
to the people of Kenya as they are crying about a number of issues.
Thank you so much, Senator. Now to Senator for Embu, Senator Mundigi, tuambie tu maoni yako haraka. Rais leo amezungumza mengi, umechukua yapi ambayo yamekufurahisha zaidi?
Rais wa Kenya ameongea kitu ile ni mambo mazuri, kwa sababu watu wako wana expect aongee vile ameongea. Leo ameongea kuhusu mambo ya agriculture, kwa sababu mambo ya agriculture katika serikali yake ameiweka kipaumbele. Pia ameongea mambo ya walimu vile, kwa hiyo kipindi ya miaka 2 ameajiri walimu wengi na sasa ataongezea walimu wengine. Mambo mengine ameongea ni mambo ya afya. Unajua kwa kipindi ambayo imepita kumekuwa kuko na msukasuko wa mambo ya afya, na sasa watu wameelewa vile na maanisha, kwa sababu unajua kuna ugonjwa ya kansa, na vile amesema watu kama atajiandikiza vizuri utakuta mtu akigonjeka kansa atakuwa analipa chochote. Kwa hivyo ni njia mzuri ya afya. Lakini hapo akienda kumalizia kuna mambo ameongea ambaye imefanya Senate na Parliament wasimame na kusema amefanya kitu hajawahi kufanya, mambo ya contractor ambaye alikuwa amepatiwa mambo ya uwanja ya ndege na mambo ya Kentraco ambaye amesema hiyo contractor imevunjiliwa mbali, na pia watu wako akifikiria atasema hivyo, na akasema kutoka sasa hii citizen mambo ya kila kitu itakuwa inafanya kazi. Kwa hivyo tumefurahia sana. Ningeomba serikali ni mtu wa kusikiza, ni kumaanisha juzi akiwa Embu alisema amesalimiwa na mambisho na watu wote, ni kama watu wamekaa chini, na ninaambia watu wote ni kama kusalimiwa. Kwa hiyo ni kama walikuwa wameongea hiyo maneno. Kwa hiyo tumefurahia ile kitu. Ningeomba tumshikilie juu ya economy ya Kenya ndio tuweze kuendelea mbele. Asante sana.
Asante Senator. Sasa tunaenda Senator wa Narok County, Senator Ledama. Just tell us, as a House leadership in the opposition, in the broad-based government now, what does it make you feel after the meeting that you had today about the energy situation in Kenya?
Well, let me focus on the issue of the PPPs, which is something which has been a thorn in the flesh. One of the biggest problems that we had is the issue of lack of disclosure. Earlier on today, at the sitting of the Energy Committee, we focus on the issue, and particularly the issue where there were serious issues that have been raised about the Adani Group. And I'm very happy that the President has taken a bold step to be able to cancel the deal, all the procurement deals with Adani, to do with JKIA, and also to do with the issue of the energy sector. I think it is imperative that any kind of PPP, and we're not saying that PPPs are bad, but it's important for us to be able to carry full public participation, full disclosure. In the Committee of Energy, we had demanded for us to be able to see the due diligence report. One of the things which was concerning is that when the Cabinet Secretary was saying that he had sent a team of Ketraco to be able to go in and carry out due diligence, that in itself was actually wrong, because due diligence is carried out by an independent body. So we're quite happy that that deal has actually been cancelled. Now we need to wiggle around the legal issues. I'm happy that the JKIA deal had not been signed. I'm concerned a little bit about the Ketraco deal, if there's any agreement that had been reached. But when it comes to the issue of bribery, PPP section 41 gives us a leeway that we cannot be able to proceed if there's any sort of any bribery or any corruption allegation. We have to make sure that everything we do is above board. So we're quite happy on that.
Okay, Senator, what is it going to cost us for cancelling this deal?
Like I said, on the JKIA deal, it was really just a memorandum of understanding on engagement. That Adani came in with their proposal and said, we want to develop your runway. We want to build another terminal. At that point, we were still negotiating. And we were quite happy because there was also a court case. And there was a court order that had stopped. So when it comes to the issue of the JKIA, it would be premature for me to say it's going to cost us this, because at that point we had not yet signed anything. There's also a dispute resolution clause. Now, on the issue of Ketraco, that is the one which I'm very much concerned about. Because if a deal had already been reached, but because of this new revelation, we can be able to wiggle out and say that there's no way that we can be able to use public funds with a company that has got questionable practices. So for me, I think as a country, we have to be firm and say that we will fight corruption. Today, the president has made me happy by saying that he's going to cancel that deal. I've been fighting that deal for quite some time, so I'm quite elated, and I think that's my take home.
Yes. Thank you. Quickly, Mheshimiwa for cases, just tell us your comments quickly because we have to go.
Thank you so much. Mine, first of all, is to appreciate the president for the first time. I think in his speech that he has made, he's giving hope to Kenyans. And without repeating what has been said, especially on the issue of cancellation of Adani deal and the tender, I still have to say, even on the issue of Ketraco, remember the procurement process doesn't end until the end process is completed, including due diligence. And part of the due diligence is to establish the background on projects or the conduct of the person, even beyond on the issues that probably are declared as part of the procurement process. But lastly, because of time, is to only call on Kenyans. After listening to the president today, president vividly standing ground and demonstrating that he is one person that he takes into interest the sayings, the hearings, the calls from Kenyans and responding to the call from Kenyans. On the same note, I want to ask Kenyans to give patience to the President of the Republic of Kenya. At least for 2 years, he's able to hone where the challenges, the issue of Shiv and Shah, he has given a clear roadmap, and where challenges are, he has admitted there are challenges on transition, but they have a team they are set to respond to every negative feedback on implementation. I will need to ask every person, every agency, along in this particular implementation of all this agenda the president has set, including faith first. This is Kenya for all of us. We don't have a Kenya for specific people. Let us all of us come together and support our president. Lastly, where there are issues of crap that has been mentioned, including this process of Adani, I want to ask that every agency the president has called on them to take their work seriously. If there are craft issues along this particular procurement processes that the president has declared to be cancelled, I want to ask that action can be, responsibility can be apportioned accordingly and action therefore be taken. Thank you so much.
Mheshimiwa, quickly, Mheshimiwa, your name and your constituency and your views quickly.
Thank you, Geoffrey Mulanya, MP Nambale. I'm very happy with the president's speech today. He has given us take home so many issues that he has tackled that affect our nation. One is the issue of Adani. As a member of the Energy Committee, we were really concerned with the Adani deal with the Ketraco because we as an oversight team through the Committee of Energy, we were not involved and we were not even aware. Last week we sat as a committee, we had raised questions why Ketraco had moved ahead to try and engage Adani without even bringing it to us so that we look at it as people's representative, so that we approve the deal. But the president has seen it wise that given the deal that Adani has done worldwide, it's very important that the Adani deal be cancelled, which I personally applaud. Number two, I applaud the president on the issue of corruption. The president has given us a challenge that the election petitions are done within 6 months. So I also urge my fellow members that now that next week we come back to debate the president's speech, we need to ensure that we amend the anti-corruption laws so that the anti-corruption cases can be finished within 6 months as we finish the election petitions. Because corruption is one of the issues that is really causing us problem in this country. So we are losing a lot of money. We had the Minister for the Cabinet Secretary for Finance saying that we are losing almost $1 billion a day. So if we can cap this through quick finalization of court cases on corruption, then we'll save Kenyans a lot. We'll save our country. The money that we lose will be channeled to other use. Thank you so much.
Right, thank you so much, Mheshimiwa. Quickly, as we wrap it up, maoni yako haraka haraka, jina lako Mheshimiwa na unatoka wapi?
Daniel Manduku, Dr. Daniel Manduku, member for Nyaribari Masaba. I think I want to be brief and simple. I think the president has listened to the pulse of the nation, and for once, he has articulated the issues that Kenyans wanted to hear. Most of us were surprised because we thought he will go off-way and make promises, but he has actually answered virtually every question we had. More than that, he has taken us a very long roadmap. He started off by giving us poetics. I think he's been reading Shakespeare or Ole Soyinka's writings. And so, as we were listening to his theoretical framework, he punched us with answers. And so, as the opposition or as the minority party, we are happy to say that so far, he has substantially addressed all the issues that we had. Of course, there'll be one or two teething problems, but I want to emphasize something that we need.
That he made.
he also made a pronouncement, which will be the first ever on Hansard, where he talks of cancellation of a process that was shrouded in mystery, and concerns were being raised about the integrity of the modernization of the Jomo Kenyatta Airport and the other programs in the energy sector. So his very categorical statement, I think, is a major sigh of relief to the people of Kenya. It has set a new bar in terms of those who want to partner with us, so that now if there are any partners who want to come forward, they must come with clean hands, so to speak. Okay? There's the famous saying that he who seeks equity must come with clean hands. So it is important that those who want to partner with us in various programs must have the integrity that is required. And clearly, the decision made in a different court about the group was a very clear evidence that you cannot proceed with that group. So I think that is important. He talked candidly about security and the abduction agenda that has been in the atmosphere. He also called on Parliament not to delay crucial bills like the conflict of interest bill. It's a very important instrument in the fight against corruption. So that bill has overstayed in Parliament. It should come out. He talked about the economy. He talked about agriculture. He talked about the femicide and other ills. So these are very critical and pertinent issues. And I think the President has made a good account of today's State of the Nation address.
Just one more before you can leave. You've actually mentioned the issue about the state of security and also the issue of disappearances and abductions also featured in his speech today. But this comes against the backdrop of that incident involving the Uganda opposition supremo, Chiza Besigye.
More facts around it, and that is what we intend to do. We can speak to it later, but I think we should not cloud the very important statement the President has made by trying to personalize and focus on one issue. Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
And thank you. Wish you the very best.
Thank you.
That is
Mwiroreri ucio ni minista kana nyabara wa maminista udumwe na minista wa ugitiri Musalia Mudavadi uria wakorwo akirikiriria na kuheana mawoni make megie ndũmĩrĩri ya president muthenya wa umuthi, na ni maundu maingi meyumiria maria tuguthie na mbere na guthathaurira mohoro-ini maitu maria megukorwo makirumirira kuri na ciuria ciakorwo cikiuranio ni atongoria ciegie gukanjwo gwa kandarathi ici ni kuga atia kuri bururi. Ciuria cia mubango wa gukinyanirio gwa kandarathi ici kurakinyite ha. Ririkana muthenya wa umuthi minista wa hinya uria tuhuthagira Opiyo Wandayi umwe wa urakire hakuhi muno maundu-ini maya kurumirira kandarathi iria irekaniriirwo ya utambia wa thitima na ruhonge rwa Ketraco nie kugete ati mubango uyu no uguthie na mbere ona thengia wa mashira maungumania maria magumeire Adani, akiuga ati gugikinyiria hindi iria kandarathi ino ya bilioni 95 yekanagĩrĩrwo gatagati ga Kenya na Adani igie utambia wa thitima kugerera ruhonge rwa Ketraco yekanagĩrĩrwo gutiari na mashira maya magumeire Adani, na kogwa agatariria ati nimekete uthuthuria mukinyaniru na makahetokia Adani gukorwo akiheo kandarathi ino no riu miaraho ya umuthi nituona president kianirira gukanjwo gwa kandarathi icio na kogwo no tuguthie na mbere na gugutariria ugwo ni kuga atia no tuguthie na mbere na gukurehera ataramu aria megututhathaurira makiria horo wegie kandarathi iria thirikari ikanagirira na kambuni kiumbe mitaratara iria ihuthagirwo undu umwe na haria hangikinya ati kandarathi ta icio ni ciakanjwo. Ngatho cia mwanya mwiroreri ni undu wa gutindania na ithuĩ miaraho ya umuthi tugithie na mbere na gugutariria maundu maingi maria mahanika muthenya wa umuthi no mangi maingi no na ciahanda thaa imwe na thaa ithatu cia hwaini wa umuthi mohoro maria gukorwo ukireherwo ni Muriuki wa Mucoki kuma kurenie ndire na undu ngetiga gukwendithiria hwaini mwega na nie njitagwo Gathoni wa Njihia.